Chapter 3863. 6 more arrived today. Revenge. Jian Wushuang glanced at Guillermo Jun in shock. He could see that the ancient night demon monk absolutely hated the enemy. Or when he said this, he wouldn't grit his teeth like this. And he could also hear that the reason why the ancient night demon hated each other was not because the other party had killed some of his close relatives, but because the ancient night demon had been captured by the other party in the eternal dark prison, passed, and fell into the hands of the other for 1 billion years. In those 1 billion years, the ancient night devil must have suffered the inhuman torture of the other party. However, since the opponent is powerful enough to capture this ancient night devil, how did the ancient night devil escape from the other hand? Jian Wushuang wondered but didn't ask much. Ancient demon lord, who is your enemy? Jian Wushuang asked. Star demon ancestor, among the many masters on the first floor of eternal dark prison, stands at the top, and is one of the most terrible masters, said the ancient night demon king. On the realm, this star demon ancestor is also just the 3rd level as the primary dominating level. But his combat power is extremely terrible, and there are many means to emerge. I am also the highest in the 2nd level, and the life-saving means is also good. It can be met by the general 3rd level. Escape. But in the face of this ancestor of the demon, he easily captured me. I had no resistance at all, and he was tortured for billions of years. He finally got bored and let me go. Jian Wushuang frowned. He was still wondering how this ancient night devil ran away from the ancestors of the star demon. The feelings were not escaped, but released by the other party. After tormenting for 1 billion years, knowing that the ancient night demon lord hated it, the star demon ancestor still dared to let go of the night demon lord. But how confident the star demon ancestor is in his own strength. In terms of strength, the ancestor of the star devil should also be far better than the Lord of the Blood Sword. But the Lord of the Blood Sword is a disciple of Hongyan. You can use the power of the eternal dark prison, as long as he is standing by you. In front of you, you can easily use the power of the French array to suppress it and kill him. No matter how strong he is, there is no room for resistance in front of you. Ancient Night Demon King said. Jian Wushuang nodded his head, and then said directly, Ancient Demon Lord, I promise you, after I go to the 1st floor of the eternal dark prison, I will find a way to find the ancestor of the star demon and take revenge for you. Thank you. The ancient night demon's eyes lit up suddenly. Well, now you first tell me some information in the 1st floor of the eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuang smiled. Immediately, the ancient night demon king began to narrate carefully. It was said for 3 days and nights. And at the same time, the ancient night demon king also gave Jian Wushuang a very detailed information of the strong. On the 1st floor of the eternal dark prison, there are countless powerful men. And after a long period of time, most of them are known and have extremely detailed information. After that, Jian Wushuang went to Hongshe Mountain under the personal guidance of the ancient night demon. Before heading to Hongshishan, Jian Wushuang also greeted the mysterious gods first, telling them that the crisis in the Xinggong had been lifted off, and that the ruler of the monarch would immediately go to the Xingtuan to pay the crime. As for the ancient night magic palace, and they will never be hostile to the Star Palace again, so they don't have to worry about it. In fact, even if Jian Wushuang didn't say it, it wouldn't take long for the Xian Shinto people to know a few of them. After all, outside the ancient night demon palace, the scene where Jian Wushuang and the ancient night demon battled head to face, but many people saw it, and the news of this battle is bound to spread in this star field. Jian Wushuang and the ancient night demon are fighting head-on. Under the premise that all combat power has erupted, the ancient night demon is still defeated. This news can cause a huge sensation in this star field, and Jian Wushuang is bound to will replace the ancient night demon king to become the strongest recognized in this star field. With this battle as the background, the ancient night magic palace will naturally not be the enemy of the star palace in the future. When Jian Wushuang and Xian Shen talked with them, they also told them to go to Hongshishan for a while, so that they didn't have to worry, because they would not be in danger. Xian Shinto people are also more at ease. Jian Wushuang also rumored to speak to his wife Leng Rushuang, and with the latter's consent, he really set foot in the Red Rock Mountains. Red Rock Mountain extremely deep. The Lord of the Blood Sword. I ran out of here from the beginning. The ancient night demon monarch led Sword Wuxia, and came to the place where the bloodstone was piled up. In the center of this bloodstone pile, there was a heavy magic circle. This method is extremely esoteric. Jian Wuxia only looked at it, but couldn't understand it at all. This legal array should lead to the first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison. The reason why I was able to escape from the Eternal Dark Prison was because I just noticed a space crack nearby, and I immediately seized the opportunity to escape. When I stepped out of this circle, I met a master of your star field, the Horned Owl. I searched the memory of this Horned Lord. He discovered this law formation 160,000 years ago, and has been studying under this law formation. Finally, it was difficult to find a flaw in this law formation, and then he barely opened a connection the gap on the first floor of Eternal Hell. But it didn't take long for it to repair itself, so I can't even go back to Eternal Hell now. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you are a disciple of the inner gate of the Red Cloud. There are tokens of the disciples of the inner gate. I do not know that I can rely on the tokens to open into the Eternal Dark Prison, said the ancient night demon. I don't know, but you can try it. Jian Wuxia smiled slightly, even when he took out the token of the disciple inside the Red Cloud. As soon as the token appeared, Jian Wuxia immediately discovered that the token had a certain connection with the heavy law formation in front of him. With the movement of Jian Wuxia's thoughts, the magic formation was slowly operating. After a short time, a complete space channel slowly appeared in front of Jian Wuxia. Haha! It seems that the token of this inner disciple can indeed open the space channel into the Eternal Dark Prison. Jian Wuxia smiled. The Lord of the Blood Sword, there are many strong men in the Eternal Dark Prison. Especially the means of many strong men are very terrible. Although you have the disciples' tokens, you must not be careless, or some sudden attacks can be done without you. With the slightest awareness, you will be killed, so that you will not even have the opportunity to take out the tokens to mobilize the power of the magic circle. Guillermo Jun said, I know, thank you for reminding me. Jian Wuxia nodded. In addition, the ancestor of the Star Devil, the ancient night demon, continued, rest assured, the things I promised will be done for you. Jian Wuxia smiled, even if the spin directly into the space channel. Chapter 3864. The first is more. Eternal Dark Prison, gray and gray, seeing no light at all. The fate of those prisoners held in the Eternal Dark Prison has been almost destined since they were held in the Eternal Dark Prison. Perhaps when the vein of Red Cloud still exists and is in its heyday, there will be 1 or 2 lucky prisoners who can be released. But since the vein of Red Cloud collapsed, this Eternal Dark Prison was abandoned in the Redstone Mountain. In the Eternal Dark Prison, these prisoners will never see the sun again. Somewhere in the void, a space passage suddenly appeared, and the shape of Jian Wuxia stepped out of the space passage. After he walked out of the space channel, that space channel also converged and dissipated. However, the token of the inner door disciple is in Jian Wu's hands. With this token, Wu Jian can still open a space passage at will and leave here. Here is the first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison. Jian Wuxia looked up, looking around. In the eyes there is endless void and earth. The whole earth is black and blue, dead and dead, without any vitality. Standing in the void of the Eternal Dark Prison, Jian Wuxia only felt that there were some meager rules of heaven and earth, and even the aura of heaven and earth was much thinner than the outside world. Master Wu is right. The Eternal Dark Prison does not have a cultivation environment at all. Generally, the first level or the second level dominates. If it is held in this first level space, it will barely reach the third level. The series dominates the elementary level, fearing that they can no longer be promoted. Jian Wuxia secretly sighed. The vast universe, the closer to the center, the better the cultivation conditions. This star field, like Jian Wuxia, is located at the most marginal place of the universe. Compared with other parts of the universe, the cultivation environment should be extremely bad, but the cultivation environment of the Eternal is even more than his star field. Dozens of times, or even more than 100 times worse. In such an environment, even those who have some talent to dominate, the rules of strength, cannot be improved much. According to the ancient Night Demon King, he has been staying in the 9th dark area of the first level of the Dragon domain before, and the Horned Lord reluctantly opened a gap in the first layer of Eternal Dark Prison. He seized the opportunity and escaped immediately. That is to say, the place where the heavy circle is linked in the Red Stone Mountain should be the 9th dark zone of the Dragon domain, which is where I am now. Jian Wushuang secretly said, from the ancient Night Demon King. He has learned some basic conditions in the first floor of this Eternal Dark Prison. The first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison is huge and immense. Its area is vast and even exceeds one side of the astral realm. There are 8 domains in this first floor. These 8 domains refer to 8 huge territories in the first layer. These 8 territories occupy 99th of the entire first layer of space, and they also have the most powerful people. As for the remaining territories and the environment, even worse, few prisoners are willing to go there. And the number of prisoners held in the Eternal Dark Prison is more than hundreds of millions. Among these billions of prisoners, after countless fighting battles, gradually they have created some top performers. On the first floor of the entire Eternal Dark Prison, there are 10 superpowers recognized at the top. These 10 people are called the 10 Kings. Among the 10 Kings, 8 each occupy a large domain and become the lords of this large domain. Even the name of this domain is named by this king. The Magic Dragon Realm, where Jian Wushuang is now, is the territory occupied by that dragon lord. Although the Lord of Dragons is only worthy of merging the 6 rules to reach the threshold of 3rd level domination, the secret techniques and methods he possesses are extremely good. The understanding of the Tao, including his unique skills, is extremely terrifying. Although the realm is only the 3rd level primary master, but in terms of combat power, it is even stronger than the ordinary 3rd level higher master. Jian Wushuang's mind recalled the words of the ancient night demon. The Lord of the Dragons, and the other 9 kings with the same name, are extremely scary. On the first floor of this Eternal Dark Prison, there is absolutely invincible existence. Except for the competition between the 10 kings, countless others, the prisoners on the first floor, including a large number of masters who have reached the 3rd level of combat power, must be more than weak in front of the 10 kings. In the domain of the Demon Dragon, there are 108 dark areas. Each dark area has a lot of strong people, like the 9th dark prison where I am now. According to the information obtained by the ancient Night Demon King, there are more than 10,000 of prisoners. Although most of them are only the highest level of the 2nd level, there are still thousands of people who reach the 3rd level, and the strongest of them are 5, namely the 1,000 Blades Lord, the 9 Penal Monarch, and Bao King, Sword Dome Blood Rain Lord. The ancient Night Demon King has been in this 9th dark zone, and has been running for more than 10 times. He knew all the powerhouses in the 9th dark zone. Among the 5 strongest people, although there are still many gaps compared to the super strong, who is ranked as the king like the Dragon Lord, compared to other prisoners, they are still a lot stronger. According to the ancient demon monarch himself, with his life-saving ability, in the 9th dark zone, he encountered any one of the thousands of 3rd level masters, and he was not afraid and could escape. But the 5 Blade Demon Lords, the 9 Penal Monarchs, the Blood Bao King, the Sword Dome, and the Blood Rain Demon, all took out one, but all of them were likely to kill him. The 9th dark zone, the 5 strongest beings. I am afraid that even if the combat power has not reached the 3rd level of the higher dominating level, I am afraid that it is infinitely close. Jian Wushuang sighed. In terms of combat power, he can only be regarded as the equivalent of the ancient night demon, and it should be the highest level of the 2nd series. This is still on the premise of his use of rules and treasures. As for the master of the 3rd series, the strength is definitely stronger past his so. In the first space of the Eternal Dark Prison, the strength is stronger than him. Too much. Just the 9th dark area of this dragon domain. Stronger than him there are many. Of course, even if he is stronger than him, he is a disciple of Hong Yunimai, who can mobilize the law of Eternal Dark Prison, so he has stood invincible from the beginning. I came to this eternal largely for the sake of experience. And there are so many strong men in this eternal hell. And the branch has such cheats. I do know the first thing I encountered in this eternal hell. Who is the strong one? Jian Wushuang had a glimmer of expectation in his heart. And immediately he wandered in the gray void. At the same time, the power of his soul, which was not retained at this moment, spread directly. Chapter 3865. Second more. Although the cultivation environment in the eternal dark prison is extremely harsh, the limitation of the soul power of the practitioner is not too great. It is similar to the Red Cloud realm. The soul power of the sword Wushuang is fully released, which can diffuse a range of 100,000 miles. There is no one within 100,000 miles. Jian Wushuang shook his head and didn't care, but continued to move forward. Just half a day later, finally someone. Jian Wushuang's expression moved, and within his soul's power range, he had sensed the presence of a forceful atmosphere. This breath is not much worse than the ancient night devil. And on the ground not far from Jian Wushuang, a figure also rose, and his eyes looked at where Jian Wushuang was. Dare you dare to use the power of your soul to investigate so brazenly? Is it the ninth dark area, the 5 strongest? Or is it one of the top 3 of the thousands who dominate the 3rd series? But judging by the power of the soul, the other party doesn't seem to be too strong. The 2-meter-tall man wearing a blue battle armor and frowning his wings frowned, his heart hesitating. In the eternal dark prison, the killing is too crazy. Countless prisoners must desperately kill others to take possession of each other's treasures, so as to enhance their strength and make it easier for them to survive. Because of this, among these prisoners, except for those extremely powerful outside of the strong, confident group, most people are careful. Like this, it directly releases the power of the soul and unbridled to investigate the surrounding scenes, and few people dare to do so. So when he realized that the power of Jian Wushuang's soul was swept away, the cold man with the twin wings was thinking of escaping for the first time. But he suddenly appeared the power of Jian Wushuang's soul, which was not strong. It could even be said that relatively weak. If it is indeed the top of those prisoners, the power of the soul should not be so weak. Anyway, as long as I don't meet the 5 strongest, even if there is a top of the thousands of 3rd-level masters, I can easily save my life by my means and go and see. The cold-winged man made up his mind and approached the other side slowly. Soon Jian Wushuang's figure appeared in the sight of this cold man, bearing the Excalibur. So young this appearance, I have never seen it. Among the many strong men in the 9th dark zone, it seems that he does not exist. The cold man frowned, staring closely at the sword Wushuang, and the breath of power in him. The Lord of the Rules? Is it just the breath of the Lord of the Rules? The cold man was taken aback. The first floor of the current eternal dark prison, hundreds of millions of prisoners, can survive the crazy killing of hundreds of chaos ages. And any one of them is extremely powerful and arrogant. Generally, the lowest level is the second highest level. Dominated by the 1st and 2nd series, they will die in this eternal dark prison. It won't be long before they die. This is the case for the 1st level, and even the general 2nd level. And the master of a rule even came to the eternal dark prison? What secret technique did he use to hide the breath of my divine power, so that I couldn't cut it? Or was he the ruler himself? The cold man couldn't be sure, but soon his eyes were cold. Whether he is the ruler or not, anyway, he can be sure that he is not one of the 5 strongest in the 9th dark zone. In this case, I have nothing to fear. The cold man stretched his wings behind him, and turned into a black streamer, appearing in front of Jian Wushuang like lightning. Is this my first opponent when I come to eternal hell? Jian Wushuang smiled and stared at the cold man in front of him. The wings are born with a back, and the air is extremely cold. With this look, he should be the master of the wing family. In the swordless hands, there is an extremely detailed information of the strongman, given by the ancient night demon. More than 90% of the prisoners in the 9th dark area are recorded in it. The wing leader in front of him is naturally also on the strong information. According to the information given by the ancient night demon king, This wing dominates the mini prisoners in the 9th Dark Zone. The strength should be the lowest. When it comes to melee killing, he has just reached the peak of the 2nd level. No, but his life-saving means is very good, slightly stronger than the ancient Night Devil. Because of this, he can always survive in this eternal dark prison. Who are you? I've been in this 9th Dark Zone for so long. Most of the strongest in this 9th Dark Zone I have seen or known, but I have never heard of you. Staring at Jian Wushuang. My name is the Blood Sword, and I just came to this demon dragon realm not long ago. You naturally don't know me. Sword Wushuangdo. It turned out to be a strong one from other domains. The dominating master nodded secretly. The first floor of the eternal dark prison is too large, and the number of prisoners who are still alive is endless. Some of them like to roam around, such as from one large area to another large area. This wing master has been running in the 9th dark area of the dragon domain. He knows some of the strong in the 9th dark zone, and even other dark areas in the dragon domain. But if he is a strong person in other large regions except the dragon domain, he knows not much. Blood Sword, are you the master or the master of the rules? Master asked. Did you know this battle against me? Jian Wushuang smiled. Then you will die. The Prince of Ce is no longer nonsense. And he saw a dark flash of light suddenly on his body, and the wings of his back shrank fiercely. It was originally a human practitioner, but it turned into a huge monster with wings in a blink of an eye. Oh! A sizzling hissing sounded. This hissing sound was accompanied by a sonic attack, and rushed into the soul of Jian Wushuang's soul for the first time. This should be the body that is dominated by the wing. Jian Wu's eyes fixed. The body was exposed at the beginning, and the strongest killing trick was displayed. It seems that all the practitioners in the eternal dark prison are not soft-hearted. Seniors. Jian Wushuang rolled his divine power. Facing this wing master, he wouldn't try it slowly as he did in the ancient Night Demon Palace against the ancient Night Demon King. As soon as this wing master dominated, he went all out, and Sword Wushuang naturally burst out his strongest combat power instantly, even the blades used. At this moment, he also directly used the magic weapon Wu Crying Sword. The trace of the universe's laws that Wushuang understands also instantly merges into swordsmanship at this moment. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 3866. Third more. Wow. The monster that the wing dominated was extremely fast, and just a flicker appeared before the sword without two sides. Jian Wushuang directly stabbed a stab, and the surging divine power came out along the arm, so that there was a shock in the space. The wing master turned around swiftly, avoiding the sword with great flexibility, and the moment he turned around, the pair of wings behind him suddenly turned into a terrible blade, hissing. The air was cut relentlessly, the layers of Daoguang, which are layered on each other, cut directly towards the swordless double head. Wing sword. And fast. Jian Wushuang was startled. It was a surprise that Ce's move was unexpected, but his response was not slow. Get away. The sword Wushuang held the Wu Crying Excalibur, which triggered the cosmic laws that came with the Wu Crying Excalibur, and the immense and swift sword swept straight down. Clang! The sword light containing terror force hits the wings of that wing dominator at the same time, making a sound of metal impact. The wing dominator only felt a sting from his wings, but his body quickly retreated, retreating to the surrounding void. The wing leader could not help looking at the wings behind him, and saw a gap faintly appeared at the point where he had just fought with Jian Wushuang Jianfeng. Vaguely blood flowed out from that gap. How can it be? A glimmer of horror flashed in the eyes of the master of the wing. My tribe, wing tribe. The hardest part of the whole body is the pair of wings, which have been tried and tested by me. After so many years in prison, I have killed countless times with people, and I do know how many times I use this wing to fight against the enemy, whether it is to resist the opponent's attack damage, or to collide directly with the opponent's magic soldier. My pair of wings have never been hurt, but now, just one swell did my wings hurt. Ce dominated in horror, and could not help looking at the sword with no sword in his hands. What level is the Excalibur in your hand? See, dominated. You try a few more times with your wings, and you don't know. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, followed by a sharp rush. Ha, 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 ha. I saw a row of mighty jiangwangs displayed from the swordless hands one after another, directly covering the front wings of the wings. The main body of the wing swayed, relying on his own body, to shuttle from this sword light. After breaking through the sword light blockade, his shape turned into a black lightning, and he slammed into the sword unparalleled. Siyu dominated the unbelief, and this time he still used his pair of wings to attack. Only this time, he only used one wing, but it was the strongest sword he created in the eternal dark prison for so many years. Buried. There was also a low howl in the mouth of the master of the wing. This low howl accompanied the sonic attack, and madly hit Jian Wushuang's soul to understand the sea. But Jian Shuangshuang is a perfect creature. On the soul, unless it is an attack that ignores the soul and directly targets the consciousness, it is invalid. This sonic attack can't affect Jian Wushuang at all. Jian Wushuang still wields the sword in his hand, but this time he casts a hazy look. Wow! The hazy sword shadow invaded, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a full mist. But in that mist, there was a heartbreaking cold light. Clang! It was another fierce collision. This time, the wingmaster found that the pain from his wings was more severe, and the gap that appeared at the collision with the sword front was also larger. His body exploded again, but this time he felt it from a close distance, feeling the true power of the sword with no sword in his hands. The rule of treasure is what you have in your hand. It turns out to be the rule of magic sword. The voices dominated by CE are a bit harsh, and they are even more shocked than ever. The rule of treasure is the treasure on the first floor of the eternal hell, which is definitely a legendary treasure. Not to mention the average prisoner dominates, even if it is the 10 strongest kings recognized in the first floor of the eternal hell. In their hands, not necessarily possess the rule of treasure. But now this person who doesn't know where to come from, and who just emits the rule's breath, has the rule of law. No wonder his feathers collided with his sword, and there was damage. No matter how hard his wings are, he is only comparable to the strongest treasure. How can he compare with the rule of treasure? Not only has the rule of treasure, but his swordsmanship also contains a supreme cosmic law. His swordsmanship is also extremely powerful, and his combat power is definitely stronger than mine. The master of CE knew it. He can't even care about Jian Wushuang, even realizing a trace of the law of the universe now. He wandered for so long in the eternal dark prison, knowing that the eternal dark prison is dangerous. The moment he knew that the man in front of him was overwhelming and knew that he was still above him, he had already made a decision. Escape. There was almost no hesitation in the of CE. Seeing that the situation is not good, fleeing directly. This is the life-saving way in eternal dark prison. I saw that C dominated the huge monster that was originally transformed, but at this moment the volume was abruptly reduced, but the speed of bursting out instantly was extremely amazing. This speed is much faster than the average second-level master, and even faster than the average third-level master. The wing master was still fighting with Jian Wushuang the previous moment, and the next moment has escaped thousands of miles, leaving Jian Wushuang no space to chase in an instant. It's so fast. It's no wonder that the speed of this wings can survive in the eternal dark prison. This speed alone, I am afraid, will make most of the third level helpless. Jian Wushuang smiled indifferent. Seeing CE dominate the escape, he did not chase. Because even if he wanted to chase, he couldn't catch up. However, in this eternal dark prison, he wants to kill this wing master. Even if the speed of this wing master is 10 times 100 times faster, he can't escape. The wing is dominated by C. You still stay. Jian Wushuang opened his mouth with a smile, and when he turned the palm of his hand, a special token had already appeared in his hand. The wing master, although fleeing, has been paying attention to the movement of the swords in the rear. When Jian Wushuang was found standing there, and had no intention of chasing him, he breathed a sigh of relief. But suddenly he heard the laughter issued by Jian Wushuang, and at the same time he saw that Jian Wushuang took out something. What did this blood sword come up with? Ci dominated the sword and stared at what was taken out of his hands. He had seen that it was a token, but this token, it instantly shocked him. Chapter 3867. Fourth more. Hongyun Yime's token? No, that's impossible. Ci dominated the anger. At first he committed a heinous sin in Hongyun Yimei. After that, a disciple of Hongyun Yimei himself took him into this eternal dark prison. The disciples of Hongyun Yimei did not know him. But there are hundreds of people in Hongyan's veins who have not come to eternal dark prison. Hundreds of chaos ages haven't detained newcomers in this eternal dark prison. This led to a rumor circulating in the eternal dark prison, saying that the vein of Hongyan had been completely destroyed, and their eternal dark prison had also been abandoned. After so many years, many prisoners in the eternal dark prison have long believed this rumor. But Ci's dominion never imagined that the person in front of him would be carrying a disciple of Hongyan's disciple. And he was a disciple of Hongyan's disciple? What is even more frustrating is that he knows the privileges of Hongyun Yimei's disciples in the eternal dark prison. With his life-saving means, as long as he does not meet the 5 strongest in the 9th dark zone, he will be killed by reason. However, no matter how strong his life-saving ability is, in the hands of a disciple of Hongyun, he has no effect at all. Sure enough, Jian Wushuang directly started, relying on the tokens of the inner disciples in his hands. The sword unparalleled guided a trace of power in this eternal dark prison circle. Suddenly I saw the surrounding world shaking, and then a horrible power came and acted directly on the body of Ce. Ce dominated the madly fleeing figure, and stopped on the spot. Then the whole person fell as if the power of the French array rolled down directly to the ground, and finally fell heavily on the ground below, lying there, unable to move in the slightest. Master wings dominate. Jian Wushuang's figure flew over at this moment. You are not a prisoner from other large realms. You are from the outside world. You are a talented disciple of the Red Cloud. Ce dominated his head reluctantly, his face full of anger, resentment and despair. Detained in eternal dark prison for hundreds of chaotic periods, this wing lord dominates the natural resentment against Hongyun. I thought the Red Cloud was gone, but now it seems that this is obviously not the case. But now, he was repressed by the other party by relying on a disciple of Hongyan's disciples to mobilize the Falun Gong to suppress his death. In such scenes, how can he not despair? Sword Wing Master, I will give you 2 ways to let you choose. Jian Wu's eyes calmed, overlooking the wing sword lord on the ground. The first way is to submit to me for 100,000 years. Not only can I spare your life, but I can also take you out of eternal dark prison and get rid of you as a prisoner. After 100,000 years, you return to freedom. The universe is big. You can go anywhere. Jian Wushuangdo. The reason why it is only 100,000 years, not millions of years, is that Jian Wushuang can relax the conditions. After all, in his view, the demon star threatened the gods in the early days immensely. Within 100,000 years, the army of the demon stars must have killed, and his deities and the demon stars will surely separate the victory and defeat. The world is defeated, then I am afraid I must die. In the beginning, if the kingdom of God prevailed, he would be able to travel to the deeper part of the universe with peace of mind. It doesn't matter if the prisoners are not with him, so there is no difference between the period of 100,000 years and millions of years. Submit to you? Ce dominated and stared at Jian Wushuang. Of course, your strength is not much weaker than me. In the eternal dark prison, as a disciple of the Red Cloud, I can suppress you with the help of the eternal dark prison law. But once you leave the eternal dark prison, with your ability, you can leave at any time, and I can't stop you. So make sure in case. I will leave a trace of imprint in the source of your soul. Jian Wushuang said, if you leave the imprint of the soul in the origin of the soul of the other party, you can easily grasp the life and death of the other party. Unless the perfect level of life is like Jian Wushuang himself, the annihilation of the soul can be immediately restored. Otherwise he can easily kill the other soul in a single thought. Where is the second way? C asked. The second way, no matter how you choose, is a dead end. Jian Wushuang said directly. Haha. The Prince of Ce laughed. And his laughter was crazy, even with endless iciness. Bloodsword, you might as well look down on me. My wing is from the Yi-Wing family. The people of the Yi-Wing family have never feared death. You want me to surrender to you, and even let you leave a mark on the origin of my soul. From then on, you are in charge of your life and death. That is simply a dream. Don't say that you are a disciple of Hongyin and have a hatred against me. Even if you are not a person of Hongyin and have no grudges with me, I will never give my life and death to you for my living. Grasp. Master C. You have to think clearly after all, only 100,000 years. Jian Wushuang frowned, trying to persuade. Haha, let alone 100,000 years. Even if it is only 1 year, 1 day, I will not allow it. My wing has been wandering in the eternal dark prison for so long. I haven't seen anything. I don't care about my life and death. Now you are a mess of red clouds and veins. And you want me to surrender? Go for your spring and autumn dreams. Haha. Ce dominated the laughter, and his eyes suddenly became scarlet. And Jian Wushuang immediately found that this wing dominated the madness of the divine power in the body. Soul burns. The sword has no double-sided color, and quickly controls the eternal dark prison array power to suppress it. But Jian Wushuang could only suppress the actions of Ce's domination. But he could not stop the riots of divine power and soul in his domination. Ahaha! The wing master dominated the painful absorption. His soul was burning madly at a speed of 100 times. In only a moment, his soul was completely burned out, and the vitality of the wing master was completely cut off. Died. I would rather burn my soul to commit suicide than to submit to me. Jian Wushuang frowned. He thought he had relaxed his requirements. As long as the other party surrendered to him for 100,000 years, he could take him out of this eternal dark prison, without having to live the life of a lawless prisoner. The wing leader should agree to come down. But as a result, this wing dominated but died. It is better to commit suicide than to surrender. It seems that the prisoners in the eternal dark prison are not as easy to conquer as I imagined. The sword has no double-sided dignity. He came to eternal underworld for 2 purposes. The first is to practice yourself and improve your strength. The second is to try to conquer some of the strongest in the eternal dark prison. These conquered strong men, he can take them out of eternal dark prison, and then fight for the early gods. Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3868. Fifth more. Jian Wushuang's idea is very good, and the 100,000-year deadline is not high. In fact, for most powerful people in the universe, they cannot accept the imprint of the other person at the origin of their soul. Because that's all about giving your life and death to the other party's control. Naturally, you don't dare to violate the orders of the other party. Although Jian Wushuang's promise is only 100,000 years, what if he kept it? The imprint of the soul has been left. Even if Jian Wushuang has been trending in the endless years in the future, they also dare not resist. These prisoners prefer to stay in the eternal dark prison, compared to this kind of day that is completely controlled by the other party. Even if there is no day and no madness here, even they would rather die than want to be like this puppet. Moreover, there is another most important reason, which is the identity and strength of Jian Wushuang. If Jian Wushuang is a real strongman, don't be strong. As long as there are 10 kings in the first space, they have absolute strength to crush all prisoners, and then persecute the other to surrender. These prisoners are also willing. After all, they was convinced by the opponent's strength. However, sword warriors are different. Sword warriors' own strength is not much stronger than that of the wing master. They only rely on the tokens of the disciples of Hongyin to suppress the other party. This will not convince the other party. And the prisoners in this eternal dark prison are all it was from Hongyin that he was detained. These prisoners have spent hundreds of chaos in the eternal dark prison. One by one, they have a deep hatred for the jade, and Jian Wushuang, as a disciple of Hongyin, wants to subdue them. Of course, it is even more difficult. Although knowing that it is very difficult to conquer, Jian Wushuang is not in a hurry. After all, This is just the first prisoner he meets. There are countless prisoners in this eternal dark prison, and not everyone will die like this wing master. I came to this eternal dark prison mainly to experience and improve my strength. As for the strong, it is not anxious to conquer the strong, and you can take it slowly. Next, if I meet those prisoners again, unless the opponent is too strong, I can only use the power of the array to save my life. Otherwise, I will try not to mobilize the power of the array. After all, move the array frequently if it is powerful. The movement will be a little bigger. I am afraid that someone like me who is a red cloud, and a disciple will roam in the dark prison, and it will spread. In the future, I will roam in this eternal dark prison. It will not be so easy. Jian Wushuang secretly said. He has made up his mind to experience and conquer the strong. He focuses on the experience first. As for conquering the strong, when he is almost done, he is going to conquer. As soon as CE's master died, his body and Qian Kunji were left behind. Jian Wushuang took away the Qian Kuan ring dominated by CE first, and his consciousness was immediately investigated. With this investigation, Jian Wushuang's eyes lightened. This wing dominates, and he is trapped in eternal dark prison for a long time. There are hundreds of times of chaos. In such a long time, there may be a lot of masters who died in his hands. Otherwise, he is the most precious treasure in the world. There will never be so many. Jian Wushuang sighed softly. At a glance of his consciousness, he found that the Qinquan ring dominated by this wing was the strongest treasure, and there were more than 20 pieces, and there were treasure armors, domains, repressions, etc. Although there was no such high level the strongest treasure, but still very amazing. This is only just the strongest treasure. As for the top and peak treasures, it is even more numerous. This prisoner in the eternal dark prison is so rich. Jian Wushuang also exclaimed. It is indeed too rich. This wing is dominated by the prisoners who are living in the first space. He can always survive, mainly because of his life-saving ability, but I am afraid that there are not many prisoners he killed himself. But he still has more than 20 of the most powerful treasures. If you kill the more powerful prisoners, Jian Wushuang's gains will certainly be greater. Yes, the wings dominated by this wing are also a good treasure. Jian Wushuang glanced at the corpse dominated by CE, and waved his hand directly to cut off the whole pair of wings dominated by CE. Then he continued to wander in the surrounding void. In the 9th dark area, the prisoners exceeded 100,000, and the branches were extremely dense. Jian Wushuang so unscrupulously released the power of the soul to roam in the 9th dark zone. It is easy to meet other prisoners. Only 2 hours after CE's death, Jian Wushuang met another prisoner. This prisoner is superior to CE's master in terms of strength, which is comparable to the ancient Night Demon King. After the encounter, the two met directly without a word. Jian Wushuang also took out his own peak fighting power and fought fiercely. You must know that Jian Wushuang broke out with all his strength, and relied on the rule of arcana, and his sword skills. This prisoner has the same combat power as the ancient Night Demon King, but is slightly weaker than the ancient Night Demon King in the method of close killing. To fight against Jian Wushuang, at the beginning he was still fighting, but gradually he was suppressed by Jian Wushuang. Knowing that he was not an opponent of Jian Wushuang, the prisoner left with a look of astonishment. Jian Wushuang did not use the array power to keep it this time, but continued to rush. In a flash, Jian Wushuang has been in the eternal dark prison for 13 days. In the 13 days, he encountered 18 people in total, but only 12 of them actually fought against him. The other 6 found that Jian Wushuang dared to release the power of the soul so unscrupulously. Seeing that Jian Wushuang's soul power is not too strong, but still far away, he did not meet Jian Wushuang. And the 12 people who fought against the sword unparalleled are also only the highest level of the second level. The weakest is also about the same as the wing master, and the strong one is even better than the ancient night demon. All have to be a little stronger, but the 12 people who fought against Jian Wushuang, except for CE, who died at the beginning, the other 11 people found that they couldn't help Jian Wushuang and chose to leave. But today, Jian Wushuang encountered the 19th person, who is a master who reached the 3rd rank. Named Deerworm Demon. The deer worm ancestor, among the thousands of third-level masters in this ninth dark area, is a relatively ordinary one. He has a strong ability to protect the body, but his ability to attack close is more general. The strong realm is the most precious one, and the realm of suppressing the realm is very strong. The nine-penal monarch who once faced one of the 5 strongest people in this ninth dark area can calmly retreat. Jian Wushuang looked at the blood-covered man who appeared in front of him, but there was a hint of excitement in his eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 3869. 6 more arrived today. Jian Wushuang came to this eternal dark prison for 13 days, and the 18 prisoners he met along the way, whether he had dealt with him or not, were only the masters of the 2nd level and the 3rd level. The master of numbers, this deer worm ancestor, is still the 1st. I went to the eternal dark prison to practice. This was to fight with stronger men. The master of the level of the ancient night demon is strong, but it can't really bring me too much pressure. Zhu, as the master of the 3rd series, should have a much stronger combat ability than the ancient night demon king, but it is a suitable challenge for the opponent. Jian Wushuang has a hint of expectation in his heart. Master of rules? When Jian Wushuang looked at the deerworm demon, this handsome cold-blooded male deerworm deer was also looking at Jian Wushuang. Eternal Dark Prison is generally held by the 1st or 2nd series of masters. After hundreds of chaos eras, these masters have either died in the midst of crazy killings, or their strength has increased, and they all reach the top level of the 2nd level. Even if a few did not reach it, their life-saving ability would be extremely strong. But in this eternal dark prison, how can there be a ruler? Did he deliberately hide the breath of divine power? And his secret technique to hide the breath is so brilliant that I can't even see it through? The deer ancestor frowned. Deer worm ancestor, can you fight me? Jian Wushuang looked at the deer worm ancestor in front of him. Sir, most of the prisoners in the eternal dark prison know most of them. Although I can't recognize you, you can survive in the eternal dark prison until now. The strength must not be weak. There is no need to deliberately hide the breath of divine power and pretend to be a ruler. Wait? Dear ancestor murmured coldly. Pretend. Jian Wushuang smiled dumbly. Dear worm ancestor, needless to say nonsense. Or fight against me for a victory or defeat, or disappear quickly in front of me. I will not be difficult for you. Crazy. The dear ancestor's voice was cold. Even the 5 strongest people in this 9th dark zone are not qualified to make me disappear from the front. What are you? I want to see where are you. Qualification to come, dare to say this. I also want to know how powerful your dear worm ancestor is. Jian Wushuang smiled, but his figure was already floating forward. Jian Wushuang shot directly, and was the first shot. But the moment he set off, there was a buzzing bluish, suddenly swept across in all directions. Each of these cyan streamers is extremely dazzling, exuding a unique breath, and in the blink of an eye, it has condensed into a huge shuttle, covering the sky and the sky. Jian Wushuang immediately noticed a powerful oppression and restraint force acting on him, making him unable to sink in shape. Is Qianswiji? Jian Wushuang frowned. Thousands of shuttles, the best in the strongest category of treasures, is also one of the strongest treasures in the hands of deerworms. This deer ancestral ancestor is said to have 2 pieces of the most powerful treasures in the highest level. One is the 1,000 shuttle world, and the other is the armor he wears. As for his attack on the magic soldier, he has not yet reached need for level. Haha, the field is oppressed, so let's see who is stronger in the field. Jian Wushuang laughed heartily, and the moment the voice fell, a large block of black magic light swept out. The triple magic light mirror, waning, burst out. On the level of the treasure, the triple magic mirror is also the strongest treasure of the highest level, and it is not weaker than the 1,000 shuttle world of the demon ancestor. In terms of divine power, the deer worm ancestor is naturally stronger and logically stronger. However, Jian Wushuang has realized a trace of the laws of the universe. By the realization of the laws of the universe, he evokes the field of magic light. The power is also stronger, and the two are madly attacking each other. In a short time, They each formed a field each other, and the chambers competed. You even have such a domineering field-class treasure? The deer worm ancestor looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise. I have more than that. Jian Wushuang smiled indifferently, and a large amount of gloom spread among the huge pair of wings behind him. Shuangguang smashed Tianyi, and Shuangguang realm unfolded. Shuangguang realm is also a domain-type means, and it is also controlled by Jian Wushuang. Under the control of Jian Wushuang, this Shuangguang realm is immediately combined with the magical light realm, and the power of the magical light realm soars in time. Banging, the field soared into the sky, forming the Taotao field ocean, and madly attacked the past of the thousands of shuttle circles of the deer, insect, and ancestor. Just now, it was able to compete with the magic light field, which was quite 1,000 shuttles. At this moment, it was extremely shocked, and the entire field began to fall. What? The deer worm ancestor was startled, and frowned at Jian Wushuang. I have been fighting for many years in the eternal dark prison. I have played against the masters of countless second and third ranks. In the process, I said that most of the fields were suppressed by me. Only a few can compete with my field chambers. As for those who have suppressed my field positively, you are the third one for a long time. However, the field is just a supplementary means. Your field is strong, but I don't know if the combat power is the same. The deer ancestor's voice was cold. A purple shuttle appeared in the palm of his right hand, and the surging divine power condensed on his body. Kill! With a low drink, the deer worm ancestor shook and appeared directly in front of Jian Wushuang. Even though he is now being suppressed by the magic light field, but the dominance of the third level, this field is not too strong to suppress him, and his combat power can still play more than 90%. Call out! A scream of loud air sounded. The long shuttle in the hands of the deer worm ancestor suddenly turned into a purple horror. This purple horror was extremely dazzling and eye-catching. So fast. Jian Wushuang showed a hint of surprise. Obviously being suppressed by his field, the speed of the deerworm tribe's shuttle turned out to be so fast, and the combat power of the third series was really extraordinary. Jian Wushuang also immediately shot. In his hand, Wu crying Excalibur issued a faint sound of swordsing. Above, the shuttle shook slightly, but immediately it produced a special strength, and it rippled, like a black hole that swallowed the sky and swept the sword. Broken, Jian Wushuang whispered in a low voice. Wu Wei's magic sword power can show. A hazy sword shadow invaded instantly. The strongest sword skill created by Jian Wushuang hazy. Chapter 3870. The first is more. The sword shadow power broke out, and the black hole that swallowed the world suddenly shrank, and then disappeared. The deer worm ancestor looked up at Jian Wushuang in amazement. The rule is precious? Do you still understand a little rule of the universe? At this moment, the deer worm ancestor had set off a huge wave in his heart, but immediately he calmed down. Kill you, this rule of treasure is mine. The demon ancestor of the deer bug is soaring into the sky, and the shuttle in his hand is directly turned into a sharp purple arc at this moment. Oh! Ha! Ha! It's fast and completely unclear. These purple arcs directly attack Xiang Jianshuang's head. Jian Wushuang also waved the Wu weapon sword in his hand. Regarding the speed of swordsmanship, he was not under the shuttle. However, Jian Wushuang is only the master of the rules, relying on the perfect level of life, adding many secret skills, and the rule of treasure in terms of power. He also reached the threshold of dominating the second level. The deer worm ancestor, however, is the third level master, and it is much stronger than Jian Wushuang in divine power. Clang! 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 After only a few collisions, Jian Wushuang did not crush at all, and looked rather embarrassed. It is indeed the master of the third series great. Jian Wushuang marveled, but the excitement in his eyes did not diminish in the slightest. This strength just allows me to test that trick. The sword unparalleled took the initiative. It's wow! Swords are sweeping like waves. The void in front of him seemed to be plunged into a continuous sea, and countless waves of layers spread endlessly. These waves are sometimes violent, rolling up huge waves, sometimes soft, as if the spring breeze hit the face. From time to time, It was like a mighty army. The sky soared like ocean, surging and surging, completely covered the deer, worm and demon ancestors in front of it. From the beginning, the demon ancestor did not care about the sword technique performed by Sword Master. He waved the shuttle at will, and the shuttle picked up the mighty power and easily crushed the waves. But a wave of a heavy wave was crushed, and a wave of a second wave was swept immediately. A wave of a second wave was defeated, and a wave of a third wave came again. There are endless waves of shocking waves. After dozens of waves rushed. This sword art is endless? The deer worm ancestor frowned, and he also found that the sword wave that blindly defeated the table and killed him was useless at all. You can only use the force to break the method. Directly defeat the sword Wuxia this sword to completely break the crack and disperse the surrounding sword art mood. Purple light. The demon ancestor murmured, and the purple shuttle in his hand suddenly burst into a dazzling purple light. This purple light is like a huge purple sun appearing between heaven and earth, shining. And in the center of this purple sun, a horrific power burst out. The strongest trick created by the deer ancestor Ziguang. This move is also one of the capitals that the deer worm ancestors can spend hundreds of times in the eternal dark prison. Banging. This bright purple light directly dissipated the surrounding sky waves, and in a single breath wiped out most of the sky as sword-like ocean, but failed to completely wipe out the sword-like ocean. The sword Wuxia divine power tumbled down. The annihilation of the sword of the ocean, half of the sky once again rose into the sky. The endless sword of waves, still unbridled impact. What? The deer ancestor's face finally changed. One of his strongest moves failed to completely break the swordplay. And this swordplay is obvious. As long as you don't break open, you can recover instantly. The waves are really endless. Although his demon ancestors are extremely powerful, he can easily defeat the waves of assaults. But in the face of the endless waves, he only has a dumbfounded role. The deer worm ancestor immediately wanted to get rid of the scope of this sword-like ocean. But Genie Ocean took him as the core and swept away from all directions. So he couldn't get rid of it at all. He can only fall into the midst of this sword-like ocean, passively resisting the waves from the surroundings. In the Red Cloud Realm, using wave light, one of the strongest swordsmanships created by many opportunities, not originally to kill the enemy, but to entangle and trap each other. This deer ancestor is caught in my wavelight swordsmanship, unless he can absolutely crushing power, with a force to break the law, completely defeated my sword style, or even if he has a monstrous ability, he can only be entangled by my sword-like ocean, and cannot escape. Looking at the deer worm ancestor, who was constantly trying to break free in the ocean of swords, a smile appeared on Jian Wuxuang's face. He created the 3 strongest swords. The hazy attack power is the strongest, and is used to kill the enemy. Guardian of the Earth is a body sword, used for defense. And this wave of lightsaber is to entangle and trap the enemy. This move is not very destructive, but the ability to entangle the enemy is extremely good. Although this deer ancestor is the master of the 3rd level, he is best at the field and body protection ability. As for his killing ability and attacking power, it is not very strong. Now he is being used in the field, under the premise of the complete suppression of Jian Wuxuang. This deer worm ancestor could not break the wave lightsaber at one time. And naturally, it was only the sword that had been trapped by Jian Wuxuang's sword-like ocean. The deer worm ancestor has been trying to break free in the sword of the sea, but after exerting all his powers, he can't get rid of it. After a while he finally gave up. Aggrieved, this battle was really aggrieved. The deer worm ancestor also had a hint of anger in his heart. While resisting the sword wave from the surrounding impact, his eyes locked the sword unparalleled in front of Tao Tao. This man is obviously inferior to me, but he is good at this entangled swordsmanship. But he is very difficult. I am a little worse at attacking power, and can't break his swordsmanship. There is no way to take him. I knew he had the rule of treasure in his hands, and I couldn't get it. The deer ancestor shook his head. Sir, stop. The deer ancestor suddenly said, his voice low. Stop it. Jian Wuxuang Ey. Although I can't help you, do you still want to kill me with this sword skill? The deer worm ancestor looked at Jian Wuxuang coldly. Jian Wushuang smiled dumbly. Indeed, his wave of lightsaber is very powerful, but it is only used to entangle the trapped enemy. As for relying on this sword to kill the deer ancestors, that is a joke. The deer worm ancestor is the master of the third rank, and in the third rank of the master, it is also famous for its field and body protection ability. His body protection method is much stronger than the attack and kill method. To kill him, even this is the case. The 5 strongest people in the 9th Dark Zone cannot do it. Unless they mobilize the power of the French array, they will definitely not do it. Emperor Zhoutian. Chapter 3871. Second more. Jian Wushuang could not kill this deer worm ancestor at all, even if it is more than the power of the demon. Although his own power is more vast than that of the deer worm ancestor, his sword power wave consumes the power of the is not small, and the deer worm ancestor is caught in the ocean of swordsmanship. To resolve the surrounding heavy attacks, the consumption of divine power is very small. In this way, Jian Wushuang has no advantage. Mantion sword means the ocean disappears out of thin air, and Jian Wushuang has also taken back the Wu weapon sword in his hand. Sir, could you tell me your name? The deer ancestor also withdrew the shuttle and looked at Jian Wushuang calmly. My name is Bloodsword. The sword was unparalleled. Bloodsword, if I read correctly, you should still be a ruler? Asked the deer ancestor. Yes. Jian Wushuang did not deny. If the deer ancestor sees himself at first, he may also suspect that he has exerted a special method to hide the breath of divine power. With the two sides fighting, with the vision of this deer worm ancestor, naturally he can see that the sword is unique. Only integrating the 3 rules of heaven and earth, there is still a certain distance from the master. Jian Wushuang did not intend to conceal the fact that he was only the ruler. Unexpectedly, in the first level of this eternal dark prison, not only there are a large number of prisoners who dominate the hierarchy, but even the ruler of the rule, but you, the ruler of the rule, is indeed against the sky. I was extremely impressed, and I also realized a bit of the law of the universe. The sword skill is also so powerful, especially the sword skill you last cast. Even I can't help it. The deer worm ancestor also praised the sword's unique strength. Although it is only the ruler, there is no doubt that Jian Wushuang is definitely the ruler that the deer worm ancestor has ever seen. Thanks for the praise, your strength is not weak. Jian Wushuang laughed. He also acknowledged the strength of this deer ancestor. After all, what he just saw was only the attacking and killing ability and domain of the deer ancestor. The most terrifying thing of the deer worm ancestor is his protection method. Bloodsword, although you are not weak, but I still advise you, in the eternal dark prison in the future, it is better to be as low-key as possible. If you can't, try not to, because after all, you have the law treasure. This is a treasure that even the 10 most powerful kings will love. Once they are known, there will be a lot of strong people watching you. Your entangled swordsmanship is very powerful. I can't break it, but that's just my ability to attack and kill a little bit. If you encounter some 3rd-level masters who are extremely good at attacking and killing, you may not be able to do so. It worked, said the deer ancestor. Thank you very much. Jian Wushuang thanked him. However, I have hundreds of chaos ages in the eternal dark prison of Bloodsword, and the great realm has crossed 3. But until now I have lived well, maybe I am in strength. This eternal dark prison is not the best, but if you want to save your life, there are really few who can kill me in this eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuang's unbelievable self-confidence made the deer ancestor stunned, and then nodded. Yes, if you do not have a considerable life-saving ability, you will not be able to live in this eternal dark prison until now. That rule of treasure is not always in your hands. The deer ancestor apparently had no doubts about the sword unparalleled words. He did not think that Jian Wushuang was only just more than 10 days after he arrived in the eternal dark prison. As for what he said, there were hundreds of times of chaos, spanning 3 large domains. That was just talking nonsense, just to confuse the deer demon ancestor, nothing more. However, it is true that Jian Wushuang has absolute confidence in his life-saving ability. After all, Hongyun Yaiman's disciple's token is in his hand. He is invincible in this eternal dark prison. That being the case, then I don't have to say much more. Leave. The deer worm ancestor arched his hand at the sword Wushuang, and then left directly. Jian Wushuang watched the deer ancestor depart, and a smile gradually appeared on his face. This deer worm ancestor just said that, because I felt that I had released the power of the soul to investigate in this eternal dark prison too. Swaying, it's easy to attract the strong, but he doesn't know. I came to this eternal dark prison for the sake of experience. For me, the more powerful the better in the eternal dark prison, the better. I know one refuses. Jian Wushuang is eager to fight with many of the top powerhouses in eternal dark prison. But one thing he also knew was that it had to be gradual. After all, his current combat power is there, which is the peak of the second series. When he meets the general third series, he can't beat him, and can only rely on wave lightsaber to entangle it. The ancestor of the deer bug just now has a more general attack and killing ability. After being trapped by his own wave lightsaber, there is nothing he can do but to stop. However, if it is replaced by the third-level master, who has a strong ability to attack and kill, this wave of lightsaber may not be able to play such a big role. Just now, the demon ancestor of the deer worm cast his strongest move, but it only wiped out most of my wave lightsaber. It is far from the limit that wave lightsaber can withstand. That is, even if it is attacking the third-level master, who is slightly stronger than the demon ancestors on the killing power, is probably not able to forcibly break my trick. In this 9th dark zone, those who can lose my wave of lightsaber in a single move, I am afraid there are only the 5 strongest. As for the thousands of third-level masters, the combat power is at the top. But if I can break my wave lightsaber, I have to try to know. Jian Wushuang muttered. In the battle with the deer worm ancestors, the sword unparalleled harvested a lot. At least I know the gap between myself and the third-level master. And I also understand the ability of the wave lightsaber you created. And then, of course, he continued to wander in the surrounding area. And he is still unbridled, and directly releases the power of his soul covering a radius of 100,000 miles, searching for the strong around him. Such an unscrupulous search is naturally easy to encounter with those strong, and then fight. The sword unparalleled cannot resist, in this 9th dark area, and fierce battle with a prisoner, a strong and so on. In a blink of an eye, Jian Wushuang came to the first floor of this eternal dark prison for 3 months. In these 3 months, there were hundreds of strong men before and after him, of which 6 were third-level dominated feet. Most of these strong men chose to fight with him, and they also had victory and defeat. As for the 6 third-level masters who faced each other, Jian Wushuang is not an opponent. They can only rely on wave lightsaber to entangle them, rely on wave lightsaber, and the other party it's hard to do nothing about him. Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3872. Third More. Demon Domain, the 9th Dark Zone. It was an unknown hill, but now it has been called the Qianblade Mountain by many prisoners in the 9th Dark Zone. The reason for this is because Thousand Blades Lord, one of the 5 strongest in the 9th Dark Zone, lives there. Unlike those prisoners who have been smashing and killing all year round, the Lord of the Thousand Blades is already at the top of this eternal dark prison. As long as it is not the 10 kings who provoked the Zeon, there is basically no danger, so he can find a place more comfortable as a long-term residence. Many prisoners in the 9th Dark area knew that this was where he lived, so they dared not approach. But today, there is one person on this Thousand Blade Mountain. Thousand Blades, the cold voice echoed all over the mountain, and a figure immediately swept out of the Thousand Blade Mountains. The face of Bingyu exudes a faint sheen, and his breath is bland but still awesome. He is the master of 1,000 blades. Long Shen, why do you have time for me today? Qian Blade Demon looked at the Lord Long Shen in front of him, with a smile on his face. In the eternal dark prison, although many prisoners are extremely mad to kill, in the long years of killing, some prisoners have formed a relationship with each other, and some friends exist. Thousand Blade Demon Lord has a few friendships that are not bad. The Dragon Shen, who has reached the 3rd level is one of them. Your days are leisurely. Lord Shen looked at the relaxed look of Qiandao demon and couldn't help sighing. Haha, detained in eternal dark prison, can't see the sun all day long. How can there be any leisure? Qian Blade Demon smiled. Dragon Shen, a rare trip, come to my cave house, give me a drink, how? No, I'm here to tell you something. I'll leave when I'm finished. Long Shen dominated. Oh. Thousand Blade Lord looked. What? Just 3 months ago, a new strong emerged in this 9th dark zone. Have you ever known about this? Long Shen asked. The 1st floor of the eternal dark prison is so huge. We have a total of 108 dark areas in our dragon domain alone. What is so strange about coming from another dark area to a strong one? Qian Blade the Lord doesn't agree. But this person has been in the 9th dark zone for 3 months. During this period, he played against many prisoners in the 9th dark zone. These prisoners all agreed that he was only a ruler. Long Shen ruled the road. Master of Rules, the 1000-edged demon lord, who had just disapproved, immediately showed his astonishment, and his expression became dignified. In the beginning, the cloud of Hongyan was extremely strong, the territory of the kingdom of God opened up was vast, and the majesty of the majesty was countless. I were all detained by this vein into this eternal dark prison, and the vein of red cloud was detained in this first space. There are a lot of masters, but there are also some masters of the rules. Although the rulers of these rules are dead, maybe the masters of the rules have survived. However, the killing of the eternal dark prison is extremely mad. A rule master can survive hundreds of times of chaos in this long kill, and survive to this day. The talent of the rule master should be quite rewarding. Force, it will not be worse. Thousand Blade Magic Master. Yes, the ruler is very against the sky. Not only is he extremely aware of the origin of the Kendo universe, but he also understands a bit of the law of the universe. Even if these talents are placed in the vast universe, they are absolutely top-notch. This kind of super genius that is rare in billions of stars. Unfortunately, the vein of Hongyan has long since disappeared. Otherwise the talent of the ruler should have been released long ago. Long Shen dominated. Hongyan Imai created the eternal dark prison by selecting some powerful businessmen for Hongyan Imai. A super genius who has realized a trace of the laws of the universe at the level of the ruler. Of course, Hongyan Imai will not be willing to be held here forever. Long Shen, you came here deliberately to tell me about this? The Qiandao demon looked at Master Long Shen in confusion. Although the Lord of the Rules is indeed very dazzling against the sky, it has nothing to do with him, and it should not be worth the visit of Lord Shen. Thousand Blades, you may not know yet. There is a rule of treasure in the hands of the ruler. Suddenly the master of Long Shen said, What did you say? Thousand Blade Demon stared sharply, and there was no such relaxed appearance just now. It is a rule of law treasure. He has been in the 9th dark zone for 3 months, and he has said to hundreds of prisoners during the period that those prisoners can see that the magic soldier in his hand is the law of treasure. And because he is already realizing the relationship of a rule of the universe, he can even exert that rule of treasure to a certain degree of power. In addition, the rule of treasure in his hand is still a magic sword. Dragon Shen ruled. Law of the most precious sword. Thousand Blade Demon Master was completely excited. You know what he is good at is kendo. The magic soldier he used is also a magic sword, but he is only using the strongest magic sword that reaches the highest level. The magic sword with the rule of treasure is definitely his dream. Long Shen, do you know the size and shape of the Excalibur used by that ruler? Qianlian Demon asked. I have asked a master who has played against him before. According to the master, the ruler named Bloodsword has a very thin Excalibur sword. He should be sharp and good at cutting and killing. Excalibur, and the exquisite sword's breath is extremely cold, extremely dark. Even the naked eye will feel heart palpitations. Long Shen dominated. The breath is cold and dark, good at cutting the rule of assassination to the magic sword. Thousand Blade Demon Lord shivered. It fits perfectly. That exquisite sword is so suitable for him. Its nature is similar to the Excalibur he is using now. But that is the rule of treasure. In the entire first floor of the eternal dark prison, The law treasure is definitely a legendary existence. Even the 10 recognized kings of Xi'an, it is difficult to say whether they have a rule of treasure in their hands. He is the one with 5 blades. In this 9th dark area, as one of the 5 strongest men, his combat power has barely reached the 3rd level. Compared with the 10 kings, he is not worse. Too much. If at this time he can get a magical treasure that is suitable for his swordplay, then his combat power is likely to leap to the level of the 10 kings. By then, he will be the 11th king in the first space of this eternal dark prison. Emperor Jiutian, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 3873. 4th is here. 1,000 blades, you are good at swordsmanship. The ruler of the ruler's hand is the most precious sword. It should be right for you. Dragon Shin Master looked over. It's more than just fit, it's just tailored for me. 1,000-blade demon's eyes were full of surprises. Dragon, how did you know the ruler? There is no way for food to communicate in the eternal dark prison. I just happened to pass by Gugu Wang and listened to Gugu Wang. Longshan dominated. Eternal dark prison is a jail, where order communication cannot be performed at all. Because of this, the news in the eternal dark prison is very ill-informed. It has been 3 months since Jian Wushuang ran into this 9th dark area. But the master of the 1,000 blades has not received the news until now. This is why Lord Shen Shen came over here for a trip. Otherwise the 1,000-blade demon lord stayed here without asking about world affairs. And it may not be known that Jian Wushuang exists for decades. King of the Ghosts. 1,000-blade demon lord looked. Listen to the Gupong king. He has just fought a battle with the ruler. Although he is far superior to the latter in terms of strength, the ruler knows how to perform an extremely unique entangled sword technique. That sword technique. Quite weird. The Gugu king was caught in it, and he couldn't break it. Even if he used the strongest attack method, he couldn't break the sword in one breath. So he could only stop. Longshan dominated. Guba, why can't he? Frostblade Master frowned. The king of Goku, among the thousands of 3rd-level masters in the 9th dark area, is definitely the top one. His attacking and killing methods are also extremely good. Among the many 3rd-level masters, he can definitely be ranked the top 20, but even the Gu Po king who has this kind of attack power can't break the entangled swordsmanship of the ruler? Although Guru failed to break the sword, but Guru also said that the entangled sword of the ruler has almost reached the limit under his attack. If his attack power can a little stronger is enough to defeat that swordsmanship. Longshan dominated again. Oh! The Lord of the 1,000 Blades' eyes suddenly lit up. Haha! The Ghost King was able to defeat that sword skill within a trace. And I am one of the top 5 in the 9th Dark Zone. Strong, if I shoot, the ruler's entangled swordsmanship can't stop me at all. I can completely defeat his swordsmanship and kill him again. Well, it's possible. Lord Longshan nodded. However, the ruler's body holds the rule of treasure, but he can survive hundreds of times of chaos in this eternal dark prison. His life-saving means must be extraordinary. There should be more than just one entangled swordsmanship. Therefore, I will go to the Blood Rain for insurance. A trip. 1,000 Blades Lord said. Blood Rain Demon? There was a flash of fear in the eyes of Lord Longshan. In this 9th dark area, the 5 strongest have their own means, such as the Master of the 1,000 Blades, who are good at swordsmanship and attack and kill first. The Blood Rain Demon is good at all kinds of weird methods, but her best thing is the formation method. As soon as the formation method came out, even if the 3rd-ranked Dominator was trapped in her formation method, it was difficult to get rid of it, and eventually it would be annihilated by the mighty power in that formation method. Therefore, the prisoners who roamed in the 9th dark area, when they saw the Blood Rain Demon, they would choose to escape immediately, and they would not give the Blood Rain Demon the opportunity to deploy. But this time, if the Master of the 1,000 Blades asked the Lord of the Blood Rain to join forces, the two can almost sweep everything in the 9th Dark Zone. Shuiyu once owed me a favor, and this time I used her to ask her to take a shot. She should not refuse. Qian Blade Demon said. Then I wish you every success. Yes, the ruler's near-end time is roaming in the area where Gu Gu Wang is located. If you have come to the Blood Rain Demon or, you can go to that area to find him, Long Shen dominated. Long Shen, thank you for coming here to tell me this time. I have written down this relationship, and I will definitely have a banquet to thank you when this thing is done. Qianbian Demon said. Haha, a rule of treasure is still the most suitable rule for your magic sword, and a banquet alone can't kill me. Long Shen dominated jokingly. The Qianblade Demon Lord didn't talk to the Lord Long Shen again, but immediately set off to invite the Blood Rain Demon. Jian Wushuang didn't know that he had been followed by the 1,000 swordsmen of the 9th Darkest Strongest. Even if he knew, he wouldn't care. He was still alone in the 9th Dark Zone, fighting fiercely with the strong men he encountered. Now Wushuang Jian met the 160th strongman since he entered the Eternal Dark Prison. This is a burly man with a tall body, wearing a red armor, and carrying a large sword. This burly man is called the Ancient Star Master, and before being held in Eternal Dark Prison, he should be a Star Master of the 3rd level of the Astral Realm, and also reached the top of the 2nd level. Jian Wushuang played against this Ancient Mixed Star Master. I saw the Master of Ancient Mixed Stars stepping out one after another. Each step was heavy and powerful, as if to break the void. And every time he stepped out, the broad knife in his hand had to be cut again. Boom! The blade of light is vast and broad, as if opening up a world. A knife followed a knife, splitting the obstacles in front of them. There are 5 different rules in this Ancient Mixed Star Master's swordsmanship, all of which are fused with each other. And this Ancient Mixed Star Master has the highest achievement in the use of the rules of the heavens and the earth. And it is the rules of the earth. So terrible knife. The sword Wushuang held the Wu weapon sword, and also successively exerted sword skills to compete with the Ancient Master's sword. However, in terms of strength and might, it is weaker than the swordsmanship of this Ancient Mixed Star. Jian Wushuang could barely resist the swordsmanship of this Ancient Mixed Star Master. But while resisting, Jian Wushuang's heart suddenly had a lot of insights. Tight, nostalgic, endless. Although the Ancient Mixed Star Master understood and integrated the 5 rules at the same time, it is clear that the 5 rules are mainly based on the rules of the earth. His rules of the earth are like a sphere. The 4 other rules are perfectly contained together, so that they do not distinguish each other. This is the tolerance of the earth kind. Jian Wushuang, a variety of emotions emerged at one time. Chapter 3874. 5th More. Wushan, the special life of the vast universe favored by the universe, can be born with the 9 rules and become the ultimate master. And the statue of Wugo in the Red Cloud Realm, although it is only a scale of Wugo, still contains the essence of the fusion of 9 different rules. Jian Wushuang has enlightened under this statue of Wugo for a long time. Through the rules of the earth, at the same time, the fusion of the rules of the earth with the other 3 rules is more or less enlightened, but it has not been possible to truly merge. But now, fighting against this Ancient Mixed Star Master, from the Ancient Mixed Star Master's sword, Jian Wushuang has felt a lot of things, which makes him clearer and clearer on the road of the fusion of the 4 rules. Jian Wushuang, even I feel that I can fully integrate the 4 rules immediately. Suddenly, the master of the ancient celebrity, who had utterly waved a large knife to attack, stopped the action in his hand. His body also stopped in midair. Huh! Jian Wushuang stunned. He felt that he would be able to break through immediately and be able to merge the 4 rules. But at a critical moment, the ancient master star stopped. Master of ancient mixed stars, are you? Jian Wushuang frowned. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you are not weak. There is a rule of the most precious sword. I can completely resist my sword. I can't kill you at all. You and I continue to fight. It is also a waste of time. It is also possible to attract other strong players nearby. In that case, why do you and I fight again? The sword is bidirectional but weird. Of course, he knew the meaning of the ancient mixed star. For the ancient mixed star, since there is nothing to do with each other, there is no need to waste time to fight fiercely. But he is different. He just gained tremendously in the fierce battle with the ancient mixed star. He can even be sure that as long as the ancient mixed star is fighting with him for a while, he can immediately merge the four rules. But the ancient mixed star the Lord stopped. There is no way for Jian Wushuang. ICA&T tell the Guju star that he is seeking a breakthrough with the help of the opponent's knife? Really said so. This ancient mixed star master Baking also left without a word. Lord of the Blood Sword leave. The master of ancient mixed stars did not stay much, and left directly. Jian Wushuang is helpless, but it is not forced, and just in the moment of fighting, he has been very clear about the fusion of the four rules. Now he feels that he just needs to find a place to calm down, and take a good look at it. And it is also possible to perfectly integrate the four rules. Although there are kills everywhere in this eternal dark prison, unless it is the most powerful and fearless top powerful people, they can find a place to live and carefully enlighten. As for most prisoners, they dare not stay in one place at all. It's too long, but I often roam in various dark areas. But I already have a clear fusion line in my mind. The time required for the fusion of these four rules is not long. It should not be interrupted in the middle. Jian Wushuang groaned. He is not afraid to be followed or killed, but he is afraid that he will be interrupted when the integration of rules is the most critical. However, this chance should be small. Immediately, Jian Wushuang found a relatively remote mountain in the nearby area, opened a temporary cave house among the mountains, and then started a hidden repair in the cave house. Inside the cave, Jian Wushuang sat sitting there. On him, the power of the rules of four different rules slowly rose. Unfortunately, this eternal dark prison environment is too harsh. The power of the rules contained in the surrounding void is extremely thin, and the power of these rules rising from the rise of the swordless twins does not resonate with the surrounding world. For rules. Chapter 3875. The more the anti-sky ethnic group or life, the greater the limit of the universe. Jian Wushuang is a special level of perfect life. He is limited by the universe, and there are few lives in the vast universe. This is the case when he first broke through the undead saint to reach the ruler. The ordinary undead saint, as long as he understands one rule, has reached the threshold of the master who breaks through the rules, but he waits until he understands the two rules at the same time and merges with each other before breaking through. Now, he has fully understood and integrated the four rules, reaching the minimum requirement for ordinary practitioners to break through and become the master. But he is still far from the real breakthrough. When the undead saint broke through to reach the ruler of the rule, I guessed that it would be more difficult than the others to break through from the rules, main breakthrough to the ruler, but I have not been able to be sure. But now it seems. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. When the undead saint broke through and reached the ruler, he was well prepared. After all, there is his master Xianyi leading the way. Xianyi merged the two rules before breaking through the rule of the Lord. He is naturally the same. But from the master of the rule to become the master, no one gave him the way. After all, during the peak of his respect for Xianyi, he was only the master of the rules. He also failed to reach the level of dominance, and Xianyi did not integrate the four rules at that time. This gave Jian Wushuang's heart a bit of luck. Maybe he merged the four rules, and he could also break through the master. The idea is good, but the reality is cruel. If I can directly break through and become the master, I can immediately re-refine Taichu Divine Realm. I can guarantee that Taichu Divine Realm is worry-free, but unfortunately, Jian Wushuang could only shake his head secretly. After the four-door rule, my strength has also been greatly improved, which is a big gain. With the fusion of the four rules, Jian Wushuang got more than just a willpower. The merging of the four-door rules alone is enough to enhance Jian Wushuang's sword power. It also has a higher level of use of the rules, which also improves his strength. There is also swordplay. My perception of the origin of Kendo universe is very high, but my rules of fusion are too few, which has affected my sword art more or less. Now the four rules are merged, and these sword arts I have created should all be okay. Get a certain level of improvement. Of course, the most important thing is to protect the earth. Jian Wushuang groaned. The guardian swordsmanship of the earth is to condense the swordsmanship of the earth. This major and important swordsmanship shows up mainly by two aspects. The first is his perception of the origin of the Kendo universe, and the second is the rules of the earth. Although he had previously understood the rules of the earth, he had not merged with the other three rules, which led to this sword domain. He could only join the rules of the earth. But now he can focus on the rules of the earth and integrate the other three rules perfectly, making the power of the sword of the earth stronger. Let's start. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, calmed down the restlessness in his heart, and continued to increase his sword power in this cave. The three strongest sword techniques he created, Hazy, Light, and Earth Guard. After the fusion of his four rules, the influence of Earth Guard must be the greatest, but the other two sword techniques can also be used to a great extent. Promotion. Next, Jian Wushuang stayed in this cave and continued to spend time improving his sword skills. The process of swordsmanship improvement can be more complicated than the fusion of the previous four rules, and it will take longer. A flash, 3 years have passed. The ninth dark zone is thousands of miles away from the cave house where Jian Wushuang is hiding. Ha! Ha! The two figures suddenly condensed in the void. These two people are the same. The one who was attracted by the sword of the sword without hands, the magic sword of the thousand blades, and the blood rain demon he invited. The blood rain demon is the only woman among the 5 strongest in the ninth dark area. She is beautiful in appearance and graceful in shape, charming with every move. At this moment in front of the two of them, he was trembling, standing with a burly man. If Jian Wushuang was here, he would be able to recognize at a glance that this burly man had previously dealt with him, and he was affected by the opponent's swordsmanship, thus merging the 4 rules of the ancient mixed star master. Guzhua, meet the Lord of the Thousand Blades and Blood Rain Demon. Guchuan was very shocked at the moment. He is just a second-ranked peak master. Although his life-saving ability is good, he can only face the ordinary third-ranked master. But the 2 bladed masters and the blood rain demon, these 2 casually take out one was enough to easily kill him. And of course he was trembling. Gujuan, I ask you, have you ever seen the newly risen Lord of the Blood Sword? Thousand Blades Lord looked down. The Lord of the Blood Sword? The ancient hybrid star master noticed the apparently anxious look of the Qianblade Lord, and he already had some guesses in his heart. He also knew why the Qiandao Lord was so anxious. Thousand Blade Lord, I did meet the Lord of the Blood Sword. It was 4 years ago. I encountered him and had a fierce battle, but he was not weak. I could not help him, so I left. I haven't seen him again in 4 years. And it seems that in these 4 years I haven't heard that the Lord of the Blood Sword is still active in this area. The ancient mixed star said truthfully. Have you seen it 4 years ago? After learning that Jian Wushuang existed, he immediately invited the Blood Rain Demon to rush here. But it happened that Jian Wushuang was hiding in Dongfu. In the past 4 years, Jian Wushuang, who has been hiding in Dongfu www.novel.com, has not come out. The Lord of the Thousand Blades came to this area to look for many prisoners in the area. Most of them did not know Jian Wushuang. Even if they knew it, they had heard or encountered it 4 years ago. In other words, in these 4 years, Jian Wushuang has not appeared in this area. Is that the Lord of the Blood Sword already gone? The Lord of the Thousand Blades mumbled. It's possible. Blood Rain Demon nodded slightly and said softly. The Lord of the Blood Sword is just the Lord of the Rules and the Rule of Treasure. But he can survive in the eternal dark prison for so long. It must not be a fool. He knows now that I have made some noise in the ninth dark area. It is normal to leave immediately and go to another dark area. This dark spear was filled with a layer of teal light, exuding a very strong breath. With the rolling power of Ling Guang Shinjun, the dark spear seemed like an instant. Xiaolong shot straight out. Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! The void was pierced through by ruthless holes. In this momentary effort, Ling Guang Shinjun stabbed 19 shots at the same time. One shot faster than the other, and one shot faster than the other. Jian Wushuang is also a step forward, Wu Wei Xinjian in hand. The vast Kendo universe origins permeate. Jian Wushuang did not immediately embark on the wave of light swordsmanship to engage with this Lingguang god, but chose to face it directly. Under his waving, Wu Crying Sword also successively cut out a series of extremely powerful sword shadows. These sword shadows are all fused the four rules, and also a trace of the law of the universe. Clang, 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 clang. The dense metal impact sounded through the void, and at this moment Jian Wushuang and the Lingguang god had already confronted each other 19 times. During these 19 collisions, each time the sword was in a disadvantage. After the 19 collisions, he was quite embarrassed. Seeing this, Lingguang Shinjun frowned. It is said that the main clan of the blood sword is a skill that entangles people trapped. Once the sword skill is out, even if the third-level master is caught in it, it is difficult to break free, and it cannot be defeated directly by force. But if you put aside the entangled swordsmanship, there is still a big gap between the blood sword master's combat power and the third level. But now, Lingguang Shinjun took a deep look at Jian Wushuang. He had exhausted all his efforts with the 19 shots just now. Although he completely suppressed Jian Wushuang, that's all. He can see that Jian Wushuang's power to display his sword skills has also reached the threshold of the third level. Lingguang's 19 shots couldn't take him down. So even if I use Ling Ying's 7 styles, I'm afraid he can block it from the front. It seems that he can only use the Mist God Light. Lingguang God's eyes were slightly condensed. For so many years, he has created a lot of tricks in the eternal dark prison. One of them is Lingguang's 19 shots. As for Ling Ying's 7, it is slightly stronger than the Lingguang 19 airsoft, but not much. And his real strongest is the Misty Light. Kill! Lingguang shouted with a fierce whisper, and his body suddenly gave out a huge beam of light. The light was extremely dazzling, like a huge sun. In this light, the black spear in Lingguang Shinjun's hand exploded. Suddenly, the heavens and the earth were silent, and a wave of extinction power suddenly condensed and erupted. This is the Misty Light. Jian Wushuang's eyes brightened, but his face was quite dignified. Chapter 3877. The second is even more. The most powerful hazy sword technique created by Jian Wushuang. This move has also been greatly improved after Jian Wushuang's integration of the four rules. Now showing from the swordless hands, the flashing light in that hazy mist is also extremely eye-catching. And its power is not much weaker than the ordinary third-level master to do a full blow. And in the blink of an eye, the hazy swordsmanship and the misty pole Shengguang collided head-on. Pung! As if two stars collided together, both burst into a dazzling light. But it is clear that in the mighty, the swordless Wuxia's dim swordsmanship is much weaker. After a moment of confrontation with the fog aura of light, the mist of the sky is scattered, and an overwhelming power directly covers the sword. Then, Jian Wu's double body trembled and retreated. After regaining his position in the void, Jian Wushuang felt the impact from his body, only to regain his head, and looked at it in the past. It is indeed the king of light Guang. Your strongest trick Wuxia Shengguang is really powerful. Jian Wushuang is indeed amazing, although he had encountered the stronger Gyurub king before. When he was running, he had to use wave lightsaber to entangle with him from the beginning. There was no intention of a frontal collision at all, so he could not really feel the arrogance of Goku's attack up close. But this time facing Lingguang, he chose to collide directly, but he was directly crushed by the opponent. Lingguang Shinjun's fog is extremely powerful, and his power is obviously stronger than his hazy swordsmanship. A master of the rules, the front collided with my Wuxia Shengguang. Without any injuries, you are powerful enough. Lingguang Shinjun also looked at Jian Wushuang. In the beginning, I heard about your strength from other populations, and said that your real combat power would be the second level peak dominates the level, and the swordplay that entangles people who are trapped is very special. But it doesn't seem to be the case now. Even if you don't use the entangled swordsmanship, its combat power will barely reach the third level. Haha, I just realized it recently. Jian Wushuang smiled. In this eternal dark prison where I see the sky at all, even if I have spent dozens of chaos eras, I can't improve my strength in the slightest. Being detained in the eternal dark prison, your talent is a waste. Ling Guang Shenjun sighed. Stop it, Lord of the Blood Sword, leave. Ling Guang Shenjun turned and left directly, and Jian Wushuang did not stop. Fighting with this King Ling Guang, at least I have a new understanding of my current fighting power. Now the fighting power should also barely reach the threshold of the 3rd level. If you encounter those who are weaker, the 3rd level master, even without the sword wave, should be able to barely compete. Jian Wushuang smiled. For years ago, he encountered the 3rd level master, and there was no room for confrontation at all. He only had to engage in swordplay. But now, he can at least compete with the general 3rd level master. Obviously, after the integration of the 4 rules, his strength has been greatly improved. Go on and on. Sword Wushuang continued to rush in the surrounding area immediately. 5 days later, the handsome Emperor Ling Guang, wearing a golden robe, was walking slowly in the void. Suddenly, 2 figures appeared at the very end of his line of sight, rushing towards him at an extremely horrifying speed. Not good. Ling Guang Shenjun's face changed greatly. Without hesitation, he broke out at his fastest speed and fled frantically to the side. Ling Guang, Lord, stop. I will not embarrass you. A cold voice sounded suddenly. After Ling Guang found that the 2 figures behind him had stopped, he also chose to stop, but still kept a long distance from the other party. If he found something wrong, he could still flee immediately. Qiandao Demon Lord, Blood Rain Demon, are you too? Ling Guang Shenjun was trembling inside. Regardless of whether it is the Qianblade Demon Lord or the Blood Rain Demon, he can't compete. If both of them shot, they could kill him. Fortunately, the 2 in front of me didn't seem to have any intention to do anything to him. 2 adults, I don't know what I can do with Ling Guang. Ling Guang's stance was extremely low, and his expression was full of awe. Ling Guang, God, I ask you, have you ever met the Lord of the Blood Sword when you were scoping in this area? The voice of the Qianblade Lord was low. The Lord of the Blood Sword? When Ling Guang's Lord moved, his heart knew immediately that the Lord of the 1,000 Blades had come to the Lord of the Blood Sword. It is very likely that the 1,000-edged Demon Lord followed the rule of the Blood Sword Master in the hands of the Supreme Sword. 1,000-edged Lord, the Blood Sword Master you said, I did meet, and just 5 days ago, I also played against him. Ling Guang Shenjun said. 5 days ago? 1,000-blade Demon Lord stunned, but followed with great joy. Ling Guang, God, what are you talking about? Ling Guang doesn't dare to deceive you. Lord Ling Guang laughed. 5 days ago, I did play against him, and when I met him, I found that his strength was much better than before. Before that, he could only rely on the swordsmanship of entangled people and the general 3rd. The series dominates the opposition, but when he fought against me, he did not use the entangled swordsmanship, but instead collided directly with me. As a result, I only suppressed him. Even if he finally performed my trick, Mist Aura, although he was crushed, he didn't really hurt him. 1,000 Blades Lord's eyes lit up completely. Ling Guang, God, 5 days ago, where did you fight him? Qianblade Lord asked. It's in this direction behind me, about 30 million miles away. Ling Guang Shenjun said. Is it only 30 million miles? 1,000-blade Demon stared. Ling Guang, God, thank you, you can leave. Ling Guang Shenjun was relieved and immediately swept towards the side of the void. After Ling Guang Shenjun left. Finally, there is news of the Lord of the Blood Sword. Thousands of Demon Lords screamed with surprise. I have lost track for 4 years in a row. I thought the Lord of the Blood Sword had really left the 9th. It's a dark zone, but now it seems that he has left. He just realized it before. I do know where the retreat has been for 4 years. Now that his strength has improved a little, he is out. It's only 30 million miles away, and there are only 5 days. He should still be roaming there. We should rush now and we should be able to find him. The Blood Rain Demon also said. The Lord of the Blades nodded. Chapter 3878. Third More. Although the Qiandao Demon Lord and the Blood Rain Demon had been searching for the sword unparalleled in this area before, They did not use the power of the soul to sweep and investigate. After all, they were also worried that they would fight against the grass and make the swordsman escape. Therefore, in recent years, they have been asking and investigating step by step. Until now, after knowing the approximate position of Jian Wushuang, they directly used the power of the soul. In the eternal dark prison, there is also a lot of restrictions on the spiritual power of the practitioner. Like the sword Wushuang in the eternal dark prison, the power of the soul can only cover a range of 100,000 miles. But this is also because the sword Wushuang is only the master of the rules. He is not yet the master, and the soul's power is naturally not so strong without transformation. And this ninth dark area has the strongest thousand-blade demon lord and blood rain demon. They are both the masters of the third series, the power of the soul sweeping away, enough to permeate the range of 1,000,000 miles. The two of them were filled with the power of the soul, separated from each other by a certain distance, and went all the way in the direction directed by Lingguang God, searching all the way. Within 1,000,000 miles of this area, there is no ruler. I don't have it here either. No. How fast the two men were. It didn't take long for them to search most of the area, that Ling Guang Shinjun said. Finally, within the soul perception range of the thousand-edged demon lord, there was a breath of rule lord level. I found it. As soon as the eyes of the thousand-blade demon lighted up, he immediately greeted the blood rain demon. Blood rain. It is up to me to kill the lord of the blood sword. All you have to do is make sure that he cannot escape. Thousand Blades Lord said. Relax, give it to me. Shiwayu Dazun smiled lightly. You go alone first, don't rush to hit him. Don't scare him immediately. He fled immediately. Leave me some time to arrange the array. I know, but you go faster. A thousand-blade demon said something, and immediately his body swept away toward the sword unparalleled. The Lord of the Blood Sword should have noticed the power of my soul to detect it, but he did not choose to leave the first time, but stood there, as if waiting for me. It seems that heaven has helped me. The Lord of the Blades Devil was very happy inside. He didn't explode with the fastest speed in the first time, but slowly approached the sword Wushuang. Above the vast void, Jian Wushuang stood there, and looked extremely calm. He did detect the soul searching of the Lord of the Thousand Blades, and he was vigilant the first time. After all, he also knows that in the eternal dark prison, among the many prisoners, except for themselves, who dare to release the power of the soul so brazenly, are generally strong men who have absolute confidence in their own strength. Like the third-level masters that Jian Wushuang encountered in this eternal dark prison before, even the most powerful Gubao King dare not release the power of the soul so brazenly. Who will be the master of this soul power? Jian Wushuang had a hint of curiosity in his heart, but there was no fear at all. As the opponent gradually approached, a figure soon appeared in Jian Wushuang's soul perception range. No wonder he dared to use the power of his soul so much. It turned out to be him. Jian Wushuang smiled. The prisoner information he received from the ancient night demon is very detailed, especially in this ninth dark area. As one of the 5 strongest men in the ninth dark zone, Qiandao Demon Lord, he naturally recognized it at a glance. In the information given by the ancient night demon king, this Qiandao Demon Lord is good at kendo, and the sword skill is very strong. Looking at the current situation, it is obvious that the Qiandao Demon Lord came to me deliberately, no accident. It came from my Wu Weeping Sword. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. He possesses the rule of treasure Wu Crying Excalibur, which he did not hide at all, although the information transmission in this eternal dark prison is very difficult. But after all, it is in the ninth dark zone, and the Thousand Blade Lord is also very informed normal. Knowing that the master of the Thousand Blades had arrived, Jian Wushuang still did not have the slightest intention to flee and left, but continued to stand there, waiting quietly. In a blink of an eye, the master Qian already appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Your Excellency is the Lord of the Blood Sword. The hearty laughter sounded. After the arrival of the thousand-edged demon lord, he didn't plan to shoot immediately, but greeted Jian Shuangshuang with enthusiasm. Thousand-edged demon lord, long-awaited name. Jian Wushuang also laughed. I heard early on that there was a super genius in this ninth dark area. And the master level of the rule realized a trace of the laws of the universe. And the sword skill was even higher. There is no way to even the third level master to take one. Yes, I see you. The master Qian smiled with enthusiasm. Qiandao Demon Lord, I don't know why you are here this time? Jian Wushuang did not have the time to listen to the boast of the Qiandao Demon Lord, but directly asked his intention. It's true, I'm here this time, mainly for the Blood Sword group's magical sword in your hand. Thousand Blade Demon Lord said positively. Sure enough, it came from the magic sword of law. Jian Wushuang chuckled. The Lord of the Blood Sword. You also know how dangerous this eternal dark prison is. Although you have some strength, after all, you are only a ruler who possesses rules and treasures. If this matter is strengthened by ulterior motives, the person knows that he will definitely come to kill you at all costs. It can be said that the magic sword of the magic circle in your hand is a fragrant magpie and will attract countless strong men to come. That's it. Jian Wushuang made no comment. But if the rule of the supreme sword is completely different in my hands, my current strength is already the top level in the first layer of this eternal dark prison. And it is worse than those 10 kings. But if I get the rule of the supreme sword, I can match the 10 kings. Then I can become the 11th king. Then the rule of the most sword is in my hands and I dare not it. Snatch. Thousand Blades Lord said again. Well, it's possible. Jian Wushuang nodded again. That being the case, why do you, the Lord of the Blood Sword, be the beauty of an adult, and hand me that ruled treasure sword? Of course, I will never treat you badly. I have countless treasures in my hand, except for a few that are of great use to me. Beyond the treasure, you can choose as much as you like. Chapter 3879. Fourth more. Treasures in my hand, let me choose. Even if you become a new queen, you will occupy a territory for me and make me a lord. Jian Wushuang showed a playful smile. He looked at the master of the Thousand Blades, but said with a smile. Thousand Blades Master, you know that I can't give you that rule of precious sword, and I have tried my best to persuade me. Let me guess, what is your idea? The face of the thousand-edged demon changed. Suddenly, the surrounding void created an extremely weak wave. This fluctuation, although extremely weak, was immediately noticeable by Jian Wushuang. Matrix. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. No wonder you are a waste of words here with the master of 1,000 blades. It turned out that someone had arranged the matrix in secret. Now this matrix should be formed. Giggle. Knowing that the formation has been formed, but the Lord of the Blood Sword has no fear at all. This calmness is admirable. A faint coquettish laughter came from the void. A beautiful one with a few the demonized figure slowly appeared in the void. Seeing people, Jian Wu's eyes and pupils could not help shrinking. Blood Rain Demon? The fifth strongest of the ninth dark zone. The Qinbiao demon's attack and kill ability is extremely good. It should be said that it is the strongest attack and kill method. The Blood Rain Demon is good at formation, and her formation is incomparable. Even if the master of the 1,000 blades accidentally falls into it, it will be extremely troublesome. These two people can say that each has their own means, but now they are appearing in front of them at the same time. Blood Rain Demon, are you also interested in the rule of treasure in my hand? Jian Wushuang asked. Who doesn't want the rule of treasure? But here is in the eternal dark prison after all. The resources are limited, and the law of the treasure in your hand does not match the magic soldier I use. I am not very interested in your rule of treasure, but I once owed the favor of the Qianblade Demon Lord. This time the Qianblade Demon asked me to help him to seize the rule of your treasure, and I can't refuse it. Ziyuzhen laughed. 1,000 blades, the formation method has been arranged, and there is a formation method. Unless he is comparable to the top 10 kings in attack power. Otherwise, even if the attack power is comparable to you, if you fall into this array, you will not be able to do so in a short time. Leave. Very good. 1,000 Blade Demon Lord was overjoyed, and his eyes turned to Jian Wushuang again. The enthusiastic face had disappeared long ago, replaced by a cold sharp. I was worried that this kid might escape from me. So I spent so much time talking with him, so that you can arrange the formation around. Now the formation is done. This kid can't escape the wings and I don't bother. He talked nonsense to him, shot him directly, and killed him. And that rule of magic sword is mine. Thousand Blade Lord's voice was indifferent, with an endless killing intention. He slapped it, and a purple Excalibur has appeared in his hands. The power of the purple Excalibur is also extremely weak, and it is obviously the strongest magic weapon that reaches the highest level. However, when the sword Wuxia took out the Wu Weeping Excalibur, the faint rule spreads the treasure breath. The light on the surface of the purple Excalibur body immediately dimmed a lot, and the breath was greatly weakened. It's truly a rule of law, although it hasn't collided directly. Just showing up makes my Excalibur less powerful. Thousand Blade Demon sighed, but the desire for Wu Cry Excalibur was growing deeper. Lord of the Blood Sword die. Thousand Blade Demon Lord has vast demon power rising suddenly, just like a demon from Juyo Hell. His physique was also a whole lot bigger than before, and the terrible magic mighty oppressive sword came from oppression. Jian Wuxia was the first to trigger the combination of the magic light realm and the mysterious realm, trying to suppress the master of the Thousand Blades as much as possible. However, once Qiandao Demon Lord is extremely powerful, even if the sword unparalleled field is completely oppressed on him, it can only slightly affect his strength, let alone the Qiandao Demon Lord's eternal dark prison for so many years. Or the ninth dark area recognized as the strongest. The domain category in his hands must have some. When I saw the idea of the Thousand Blades demon, a vast black flame was burning wildly. This black flame field is no weaker than Jian Wuxia's magic light field. Even with the blessing of the Shuangguang realm, Jian Wuxia's field only has a slight upper hand. The Qiandao Demon Lord was still so powerful, and in the blink of an eye, he was killed in front of Jian Wuxia. The purple Excalibur in his hand slammed like a purple electric snake across the void, bursting into the throat of Jian Wuxia. Jian Wuxia flaunted behind his wings, and his figure flew back a few steps in succession, followed by a dive, followed by a high-level wave of the Wu weapon sword in his hand, and directly cut off. The two collided, and a huge force was transmitted directly along Jian Wuxia's arm. The sword's two-sided color sank, and its shape was twisted, which perfectly resolved the impact of this force. The right hand of the Wu weapon sword took advantage. Wave. The strongest swordplay hazy. Wow. Shocking sword shadow mighty show. The light of fireflies dare to compete with the sun and the moon. The master of the thousand-edged devil showed no contempt. His Bodhi's spirit rolled, and the purple Excalibur in his hand suddenly became larger. Just like a who raised the sky and opened a giant sword, this giant sword is indeed capable of breaking new ground. Pung! There was a loud noise, and the sword's double body was shocked, and the whole man flew out like a shell. The terrifying power from the purple Excalibur also acted on his deity. Even with the weakening of the Wujin demon armor on the surface, there were still a lot of impacts on him, causing him some damage. It is indeed the ninth dark area to attack the most powerful thousand-edged demon lord. Before I fought against that Lingguang God King, I also used hazy sword skills to resist his strongest trick, Wu Ji Shenguang. Although the sword skills were defeated, but the misty aura did not hurt me. But now the swordsmanship of the thousand-edged demon really hurt me. And this sword just now is by no means the strongest trick of the thousand-edged demon lord. Jian Wuxia marveled. It is also the master of the third level. The Lingguang God is enough to rank in the top 50 in this ninth dark area. But compared with the 1,000 of the 5 strongest one, the gap is still too big. Novel. Chapter 3880. Fifth More. Sword Art. One of the 3 strongest swordsmanships of Jian Wuxia, used to entangle the enemy's swordsmanship. After the sword unparalleled fusion of the 4-door rules, this sword skill has greatly improved in both power and resilience. Now this sword skill is perfectly demonstrated from the sword without hands. The mighty sword like waves endless, rushed towards the Lord of the Thousand Blades. The Qiandao Demon Lord is a strong swordsman in his own right. He is now standing at the center of Genie Ocean, and can clearly sense the endless mood in Genie Ocean. It's a very powerful artistic conception, and this sword art is also quite useful. If you can't completely disintegrate this sword art in one breath, I'm afraid this endless wave will be endless. The Qianblade Lord's eyes were cold, and the next moment he raised his hand, the purple Excalibur, a purple sword mang, like a purple thunder that fell from the sky, cut off fiercely in front of the sword in front of the ocean. Wow! Under the sweep of purple thunderbolt, the sword-like ocean ahead immediately began to retreat and collapse at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, the entire Genie Ocean collapsed by nearly 90%, but the power of the purple thunderbolt was also completely exhausted and dissipated in the heavens and the earth. What? There was a hint of surprise in the Thousand Blades Lord's head, but he immediately restored peace. This kid. No wonder he can use this trick to make many third-level masters do nothing. The toughness of this sword is stronger than expected. Even if I try my best, I can't completely use this sword. Destroyed, the Gubao King's attack and killing ability is far worse than mine. His strongest blow. I am afraid that at most he can only wipe out the sword art by 60% to 70%. But in a blink of an eye, this sword art mood can be fully restored. Thousand Blade Demon Lords have seen that the surrounding sword-shaped ocean, that has collapsed by nearly 90%, within a short period of time, has restored its former appearance. It was still mighty, and endless waves continued to flow towards him. It seems that I want to kill this kid, but I really have to take some measures to do it. The sharp blade flashed in the master's eyes. Fan Tianjian. The meaning of killing instantly filled the whole world. The surrounding space in the sense of this killing began to tremble. Even Jian Shuangshuang couldn't help but raise his head. Wow! A ruthless sword was cut off mercilessly. This sword mang, bright and dazzling, is full of terrible fronts that kill the world. In a blink of an eye, the swordman's arm was already split on the sword-shaped ocean directly in front of it. The sky-filled and extremely tough sword-shaped ocean melted directly under the sweep of the sword light. In a short time, the entire sword of the sea was melted more than 90%, and there is still a lot of power in that sword. Finally, the huge ocean of swords was completely dissipated, and the sword style of Wushuang also completely collapsed. My wave lightsaber was defeated by the front? Jian Wu's eyes sinked slightly. Wave lightsaber, after he integrated the 4 rules, has been improved to a certain extent, much tougher than before. However, the Qiandao Demon Lord is still a sword to completely defeat his sword skill, but I can imagine how powerful the sword of the Qiandao Demon Lord just was. It is indeed the 9th dark area to attack and kill first. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly, but still relaxed. Such a relaxed look was naturally seen by the Thousand Blade Demon Lord and the Bloody Rain Demon next to the void. This boy, his proud swordsmanship has been defeated by a sword in front of me. What else can't be done? Qiandao Demon frowned. Thousand Blade Demon Lord. Sword Wushuang said. I have created 3 of the strongest swordsmanship in the eternal dark prison for so many years. The one that I chose to bump up against you is the swordsmanship of the main attack. Obviously the power nowhere near you. The wave of swordplay that I just cast is a swordplay used to entangle the enemy. It was also directly broken by your sword. But next, I will perform the last one of the 3 swords I created. This sword is called Earth Guard. It is mainly used to defend the body, but I do know if you can use my sword. Break open. Jian Wushuang chuckled and waved with his right hand, driving the endless sword intention to sweep away. Buzzing. A large number of earth-colored earth rules swept up. In addition to the earth rules, the other 3 major rules also poured into the sword. A heavy and major sword area was formed, and in the blink of an eye, in front of Jian Wushuang, a full 51 major sword areas were condensed. 51 is headed by the rules of the earth, which contains the earth sword area full of the power of the 4 rules. This is Jian Wushuang's strongest body protection sword skill. Lord of the Blades, come and try it. With a smile on his face, Jian Wushuang has absolute confidence in his sword guarding the earth. Huh, what kind of body protection sword art, in front of absolute strength, by any means is futile. See me break your body protection sword art. Thousand Blade Demon Lord Lunghung. Purple sword in his hand raised again. That terrifying killing is flooding the world again. Fun Tianjian. Thousand Blade Demon shot. And the one that was cast was the sword that had just defeated the wave of swordplay. That dazzling with the sword of endless killing. I saw that the world's sword mang was cut out mercilessly, and immediately split on the ground guarding the sword area in front of the swordless double-sided. In just one moment, most of the 51 major land sword areas collapsed, but the remaining land sword areas were still indestructible. The speed of the worldwide Jianmong gradually became slow, and in the end, the power was completely exhausted and completely dissipated. But the sword area of the earth before the sword had no double sides was still full. 51 heavy earth sword area of far higher quality than before. Even you fortified the 42 heavy at once. Thousand-edged lord, your power of swordsmanship indeed. Jian Wushuang laugh at will, and in the blink of an eye, the 51 major sword domains are restored again. But the look of the Thousand Blades Lord was a little gloomy. He actually blocked my penalty sword. And 51 heavy sword domains, there are 9 remaining. Obviously his swordsmanship ability is far from reaching the limit. Thousand Blades, it seems that you underestimated the Lord of the Blood Sword. The playful voice of Blood Rain Demon also sounded at this moment. I wasn't surprised. Chapter 3881. 6 more arrived today. I have spent hundreds of chaotic times in the eternal dark prison. I created 2 swords of punishment and blood. Based on these 2 swords, I killed prisoners in the hundreds of chaos, even the 3rd level. I have killed many prisoners. The whole eternal dark prison. I am not afraid of anyone except the supreme 10 kings. The Lord of the Blood Sword and the Lord of the Rules, how can I stump me? The thousand-edged demon lord's eyes were cold. On mighty power, my blood sky sword is nearly twice as strong as the punishment Tianjian. You can't kill him if you don't believe me. Boom. The monstrous magical powers twitched frantically. Thousand Blade Lord's eyes became scarlet, and at the same time the whole body surface showed a hint of dark red. This dark red is like the color of blood. Blood stained the heavens. This is the strongest sword skill created by the thousand-edged demon lord, the blood sky sword. Dead. The thousand-edged demon snorted loudly hysterically. The purple Excalibur in his hand trembled violently, and at this moment it was completely red. Wow, this is a thrilling blood-colored swordman. This blood-colored sword mang was cold and dark, with a sense of unprecedented killing, and it appeared in front of Jian Wushuang in an instant. Jian Wu's eyes also sink slightly. Are you stronger swordsmanship? I don't know if my Earth Guard swordsmanship can resist this sword. There is also a glimmer of expectation in the sword without eyes. Pung! The blood-colored swordmang slashed directly on the land of the sword of the earth. And an instant of terrifying power, and a terrible cutting force burst out. The surface of the 51 major sword area permeated by the sword-free body was smashed 40 times in the blink of an eye, followed by the collapse of the major sword area. 47th, 48th. In the end, this blood-colored Jianmong directly broke the 49th major sword area of the swordless body surface, but was resisted by the 50th major sword area. The Qiandao Demon Lord is the strongest sword and stops at the 50th. Unexpectedly, it didn't break? This time, the master of the thousand blades was really shocked. He has absolute confidence in his ability to attack and kill. The strongest sword skill blood sky sword he casts with all his strength, purely on the power. I am afraid that he is almost approaching the 10 most powerful kings. Except for the top 10 strongest kings, there are not a few third-level masters in the first level of the eternal dark prison, which can surpass him in pure power. But in the end, the strongest swordplay, that he is most proud of, has not been able to break the bodyguard swordplay of the ruler in front of him. Giggle, it's interesting now. The Blood Rain Demon, who had been watching the battle in the void, looked at it with a strange light. Thousand Blade Masters, it seems that your strongest swordsmanship is just that. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly, and in the bottom of his heart, He was very satisfied with the defensibility of the Earth Guard swordsmanship. The strongest swordsmanship of the Thousand-Edged Demon Lord. The power has definitely reached the level of the third-level higher master. In this eternal dark prison, I am afraid that the 10 kings can beat him in the power of attack, yes. But his sword, but still could not completely break my guardian sword of the earth. Jian Wushuang smiled gently. He had previously guessed that after integrating the 4 rules, the Earth Guard swordsmanship, which was re-improved mainly by the earth, should be very arrogant in terms of body protection. Now it seems that it is. Blood Rain, this boy's body swordsmanship is quite good. I want to kill him very difficult. I'm afraid you have to help. Qian Blade Demon chanted. 1,000 blades, when you asked me to shoot before, you can say, as long as I arrange the formation to prevent him from escaping. As for killing him, it is up to you to do it yourself. But you didn't say you wanted me to kill him. Shuyu Mozen smiled with amusement. I didn't expect this boy's body sword art would be so good at the time. Thousand-Edged Demon Lord looked gloomy. Blood Rain, help me, what benefits do you want? Blood Rain Demon will help the Thousand-Blade Demon Lord this time, but he has owed so much to him. But before the Qianblade Demon Lord went to invite the Blood Rain Demon, he said that this kind of humanity can only be exchanged for the Blood Rain Demon, to arrange the array method, to prevent the sword unparalleled. As for the Blood Rain Demons to take the shot himself, Qianblade Demon Lord did not say that this is naturally beyond the scope of that human relationship. The Blood Rain Demon has no good friendship with the Thousand-Edged Demon Lord. Seeing the situation in front of him, Blood Rain Demon directly puts forward the conditions. The 5 best treasures at the highest level, I can help you. Thousand Blade Lord frowned suddenly. The strongest treasure is common in Eternal Dark Prison, and it's easy to get. You can get many of these strongest treasures by simply killing a second-level master. But the strongest treasure of the highest level, there are fewer. Under normal circumstances, a third-level master, only a few hands will have 1 or 2 pieces of the highest level of the highest treasure. However, there is a third level dominated by the most powerful arcane treasure at hand. It is generally extremely difficult to kill. So the Master of the 1,000 Blades is one of the 5 strongest in the 9th dark area. But the best level in your hand is the strongest treasure, and the number is not too much. The Blood Rain Demon statue needs 5 at a time, which is really not a small number. However, the thought of the magic sword in the hands without the sword, the Master of the 1,000 Blades gritted his teeth and directly agreed. Yes, the 5 most precious Arctic treasures. I will give you afterwards. That's not okay. After all, what you are good at is kendo. Once you kill the Lord of the Blood Sword, you get the rule of the Lord of the Blood Sword. The strength is soaring. I'm afraid I can only escape my life before you. Now if you do want to give it back afterwards, I do have anyway. So you first give me the 5 best treasures of the highest level, and I will take another shot. This should be more secure. Qiandao Demon gritted his teeth, but still focused. Yes, the strongest 5 treasures, I will give you now. Having said that, the Master of the 1,000 Blades waved his hand directly, and threw a Qinkuan ring towards the Blood Rain Demon. After the Blood Rain Demon took over, his consciousness swept away, and he smiled and nodded, but then said, Qian Blade, I have to make it clear. Chapter 3882. The first is more. Why Blood Rain Demon also intends to fail? Jian Wushuang looked indifferently at the Blood Rain Demon who was coming. In terms of strength, the Blood Rain Demon is equal to the 1,000 Blade Demon Lord, but the areas they are good at are completely different. Blood Rain Demon is best at matrix formation, followed by soul. Her mastery of the soul is extremely high, and the soul attack is extremely terrible. This is why the Thousand-Edged Demon Lord spent 5 pieces of the best treasure of the highest level. Blood Rain, the Lord of the Blood Sword, is against the sky, and it is only the Lord of the rules. His soul must not be strong. Using your accomplishments in the soul to directly perform a soul attack, it should be easy to kill him. As long as the soul is annihilated, no matter how strong his body protection ability is. Champion Demon said. Blood Rain Demon's gaze with evil charms solidified on Jian Wushuang's body. The Lord of the Blood Sword. You are an out-of-the-box genius. Your talent is enough to amaze me, but unfortunately here is an eternal darkness in prison. If you want to survive here, it's useless to rely on talents, so I can only sorry for you. Blood Rain Demon's voice was soft and pitiful, but while she was talking, she already had a faint strange light flashing in her eyes. Fall down. As soon as the voice fell, a majestic force of soul immediately came to cover the sword. Jian Wushuang could not escape at all, and the power of the soul entered his sea of knowledge, destroying his deadly desire to destroy his soul. The power of this soul is too huge and overbearing. After all, it is the third level of the soul attack. But Jian Wushuang is only the ruler of the rule. The soul has not been transformed. In the face of this level of soul attack, he has no room to struggle. In a blink of an eye, the soul annihilates. Dead. Shuyu Mozin smiled. It is indeed a blood rain. In addition to the formation method, your soul attack is also a must in this eternal dark prison. Thousand Blade Master surprised. Don't brag about me. My soul attack is not very strong, but the soul of the Lord of the Blood Sword is too weak. Shuyu Dazun laughed. Once 1,000 blades, the Lord of the Blood Sword is dead. Hurry up and get your rule. The master of the 1,000 blades could not wait any longer, and he immediately planned to make thousands. Suddenly, the Sword Lord, whose soul had been annihilated, suddenly opened his eyes again, and there was a hint of slyness in his eyes. When he saw the 1,000-edged demon lord coming, he grinned and showed a strange smile. What? 1,000 Blades Lord's figure paused immediately. How is that possible? Blood Rain Demon was also surprised. Both of them could see clearly just now that the soul of the Lord of the Blood Swords had indeed been completely annihilated, but now. Impossible, your soul has been completely annihilated by me. How could it not die? The Blood Rain Demon's face was incredible. The soul will die when it is annihilated? Blood Rain Demon, you may be too arbitrary. Besides, if you look at it now, is my soul already annihilated? Jian Wushuang smiled, and immediately swept away with the soul. However, although the power of this soul is relatively weak compared to the Qianblade Demon Lord and the Blood Rain Demon, it is indeed the soul power of Jian Wushuang. How can this be? 1,000-Blade Demon Lord widened his eyes. Is that the legend? Shuyu Mozin suddenly thought of a possibility. Legend? The Lord of the 1,000 Blades looked at it immediately. In the legend, there are many special lives born in the vast universe. Among them, there is a special life that reaches a perfect level. Its soul has been integrated into every part of the Buddhist divine power. It is said to be immortal. Even if the soul is annihilated, it can consume some divine power. Instant recovery. Shuyu Mozin trembled. Perfect life. 1,000-Blade Lord also stared at Jian Wushuang. Perfect life in the legend requires the accumulation of a long time in the entire vast universe to be able to give birth to one, right? Probably a little bit more universe than the ruler. The super genius that is rare in the billions of stars is still rare. The Lord of the Blood Sword is a practitioner of perfect life level? Although I do not want to admit it, it seems that there is only this kind of explanation. The Blood Rain Demon looks very dignified. The Lord of the Blood Sword not only understands a little of the law of the universe at the level of the Master of the Rule, is the kind of super genius that is rare in billions of stars. At the same time, he is a more perfect life level cultivator than this kind of genius. The combination of the two can definitely be regarded as the most anti-super superhero in the vast universe. Genius. 1,000 Blades. The Lord of the Blood Sword is a practitioner of perfect life level. If you want to kill him to win the treasure, I'm afraid it will be difficult. Why? Even if he is a perfect life, the soul annihilation can be restored by divine power, but every time he restores the soul, he should lose a lot of divine power. He is now trapped here by us and can't escape at all as long as you perform the soul attack time and time again, and continue to consume his divine power. His divine power will be exhausted sooner or later, and then it will be the same death. Qianblade Lord said coldly. Hearing this, Ziyuzhen smiled coldly. 1,000 Blades, are you afraid that you don't know enough about the perfect level of life? I tell you, the reason why the perfect level of life is so bad, except for this life in addition to the innate advantage of Emotion, he has the vast divine power. Don't look at him as a ruler, but his divine power is definitely dozens, or even hundreds of times greater than our masters. Yes, if I perform a soul attack time and time again, I can indeed force him to spend his divine power and perform soul repair again and again. But each time he repairs his divine power, it is very rare. His divine power can completely support him for thousands of times. Soul repair, even nearly 10,000 times. But what about me? When you perform a soul attack every time, you do indeed need to consume the soul. Take the power of my soul compared to the power of the Lord of the Blood Sword. You want it. Thousand Blade Demon Master stunned. Yes, Blood Rain Demon casts his soul to attack the soul of the Annihilation Sword Wuxia. Although he can force Jian Wuxia to spend divine power to repair the divine power again and again. But by the same token, the Blood Rain Demon respects his own soul's power consumption, and with his current soul strength, he can perform a one-time annihilation of the sword Wuxia soul's soul attack, which can only be performed at most dozens of times.